3 hours of the best Zaza videos to watch and have a fun time while you're doing that. So let's get into it with... Oh, and YouTube, here's proof that they're my videos. Anyway, let's get into it right now. The plug, a holy being that will always be there for you, especially when you don't need him, and also occasionally when you do. And because I don't live in the fancy America, where all the big vloggers and TikTokers are, I still rely on the plug for my Zaza. But after years of buying from different plugs, I always wondered how much money do these guys actually make and what are the requirements to be successful in the profession? Well, finally, after the introduction of a new, scientifically enhanced type of grass, HHC, I kinda got the answer to these questions, and I'ma be honest with you, it ain't what I expected. As I said before, it all started with the introduction of the so-called new and improved ZA, HHC, and because it was new and regulations had not been set, even in my Stone Age country where an 18-year-old can buy a liter of vodka and drink himself to death, or just get hammered and get the sudden urge to call out the 6'5" undefeated heavyweight MMA fighter at the club because, well, when he sees red, bodies start dropping. Anyway, since this was legal and I am a law-abiding citizen who wouldn't even dare to jaywalk, I thought to myself, this is the perfect moment to see what being the plug is all about. Furthermore, because most dudes in this country don't know anything about strains, hash, bud, and just take whatever the plug has, I didn't need to worry about people thinking I scammed them. Also, your boy conducted a thorough inspection of this new product using only the most delicate and scientific tools possible. Oh, okay, I hit that shit through a Red Bull canning. It kicked pretty nicely, so I dubbed it Verified Lab. After securing half an ounce of the Verified Lab, which is 14 grams in European tongue, I went to work on finding customers. And obviously the best place to start is on Snapchat. So I took a picture of the Zaza with the caption, 15 bucks per gram, hit me up. Which is a steal, because, well, it sold for 20 a G here. And unfortunately, I only got one sale, cause I guess most of the people who I knew smoked Verified Lab were plugs themselves and knew of the existence of HHC and that it's like 6 bucks a gram. But I was still determined to flip them packs and make them racks, so I hit up the most trustworthy plug I knew who actually had people in his contacts who smoked Verified Lab, but were not in the business of trapping themselves. After a thorough business meeting where we may or may not have smoked the grass ourselves, he conducted that the gas I had was indeed worthy of the title Verified Lab, and offered to buy it all for 12 bucks a gram, which, I mean, I got it for 8.5, so I obviously said yes. At first I thought that was all. I made a nice profit of about 40 bucks and was feeling good. But after about 2 days, I got a message from the plug I conducted business with reading, "Bro, that shit sold out quick. Can you order more? I think I can actually sell this stuff for 25 a G, cause people want the same stuff real bad." Now, I think you are currently pondering two questions. Why didn't he just order more himself? And how the hell did these dudes not know it was HHC? Well, the reason he didn't order more himself is quite simple. He is a full-time OG plug, so dudes does not have a bank account to order stuff. And to answer the second question, I truly don't know. I couldn't really believe it myself, but I guess most stoners really don't give a fuck about news and staying up to date with it. In the words of the great plug himself, these dudes just wanna get as f***ed up as possible. They don't know nothing about no THC, HHC, CBD, BBC, NBA, MMA, nothing. Anyway, it all sounds great, right? Everybody loves the Verified Lab and are willing to pay premium for it. Plus, it's all technically legal and I don't even need to sell it myself. Well, it would have been, but there were two problems that made it a bit more sketch. You see, the issue with HHC is that it's a chemically produced product. All it actually is THC with a couple extra hydrogen molecules. And through thorough research, both practical and scientifical, I found out that HHC is very unstable in nature, meaning one patch of the same strain can truly be Verified Lab. But then the next patch made with the exact same ZA and same way could be some whack leftover Reggie. It's because it's very hard to control how well this hydrogen molecule binds to the THC, and not financially worth it to control the potency of each patch. So you could order that shit once and get some damn moon rock, or like the first experience I had with HHC, get some damn oregano. And the second problem was the plug I was conducting business with didn't want that risk all to himself, so I would have to cover the upfront costs of the HHC and then give it to him where he would hopefully flip it for 25 bucks a G, which I would receive 15 bucks a G and him 10. So here I was, with quite the pickle of a conundrum. Should I order a whole ounce of HHC, which by buying an ounce you get the best price per gram, but I risk it being whack Reggie? Or should I just order a fourth, therefore lowering the risk of getting whack product, but also lowering the profit margins? And the conclusion I arrived at was the best of both worlds. I ordered half an ounce just like before. After receiving the good, I gave half of it to the trustworthy OG plug and waited for that passive income to roll in. But unfortunately, it was as I feared. The stuff I got this time was still good and solid, but it just wasn't the verified loud I received before. So the OG plug was having trouble marketing it as premium za and lowered the price to the industry standard 20 bucks a G. But unfortunately, dudes were catching on as well, and some of them refused to buy the za cause they could just order it online. Like, yeah, you can, but wouldn't you rather buy from your friendly neighborhood plug? I guess not, cause after a couple days, the OG plug sent me another message. Yo, this stuff ain't moving like before, and people catching on about the origins. I have half of the stuff left. If you want, I'll buy it out for 10 bucks a G, or just return it to you. Which I hesitantly chose the first option, so I had him just buy it out. Yet there was still the issue of the 7 Gs or so I had left, which I initially planned on flipping, but was unfortunately unable to, cause mofos knew I got that shit for pennies compared to the asking price. So I did as all plugs would do and dubbed the leftover HHC as my personal stash, and just started blazing my own product, which was kinda stupid in hindsight because a couple weeks after, HHC was illegalized, as we all knew it would be, and became a rarity in the za industry. Which mofos started flipping that shit for 30 bucks a G, like goddamn, it ain't even that different from normal za. Anyway, by the end of it all, I made a bit under $100 in profit, or in another metric, about 10 Gs of za, which I smoked myself. So really the conclusion to my plugging experience was I got free grass, which was a bit underwhelming cause I was hoping to become the local Pablo Escobar, if you know what I mean. Moral of the story is don't get high off your own supply, or at least if you want to be a businessman. Oh, and also don't sell illegal things, cause well, this HHC was legal, so I could have technically flipped it on Facebook Marketplace or something.
You know, back in the day, if you wanted to get high discreetly, sorry bro, but there was no way. I mean, you got the J, which stanks up everything. You got the bong, which although doesn't stank as much, where are you gonna hide it? Imagine trying to sneak by your parents on some... What you doing dropping shit at a time like this, boy? Downstairs, I came for, I came down, I wanted a glass of water, yeah. Boy, you must be neurologically disabled if you think that'll excuse you from breaking some dusty-ass dollar store piece and spilling bong water all over my goddamn living room. No, it's... Here, take a smack of this shit. It'll get you proper, boy. Well, that sounds like a pretty fun... Anyway, point is, you're not gonna be hiding that shit for long. Only real option you had was the pipe. But bro, at that point, you sacrificing everything you got for one high. Like, I swear, the pipe is the last way anybody in their right mind wants to get faded. Every time I hit it, it's like my lungs and throat revert back to factory settings, like I ain't never inhaled anything besides O2 before. Basically, by smacking the pipe, you're hurting your lungs and throat to the point it kind of fucks up the first 30 minutes of your high. And that's exactly why when the first penjamin was invented by the scientists at Yodiland, it changed the game, bruh. Never before could you get obliterated on the go regardless of where you were or what you were doing. And thanks to that, getting high has become so damn easy, you got motherfuckers making obliteration their normal state. Never before could someone do anything even remotely sus and you could just assume they were fucking high. My man had sunglasses on for no reason, faded. Dude was staring somewhere for a bit too long, obliterated. Dude went to White Castle for a culinary experience. Well, that motherfucker's just weird. Goddamn cafeteria food. And you can forget about gas stations and fast food places. I mean, at this point, it's like damn near mandatory to be blasted on the job. And I got nothing against that, just since 90% of the time I find myself at 7-Eleven, I'm fried too, and the motherfucker that's supposed to be helping me is trying to scan my items with his damn iPhone. Nah, but for real, the pace that these fried motherfuckers work at is fine when your brain is running at the same low frequency, but if you're in a rush, it'll take damn near every ounce of mental strength you got to stop yourself from forcing a damn self-checkout.
Would you like a bag with that, sir?
Fuck no, here's the money, just give me my shit. But don't get me wrong, I got nothing against a good old penjamin. There really ain't a better on the go, fast and easy way to get faded.
Unfortunately, I didn't go to college and kinda cheated my way through high school too, so the 15 or so brain cells I was able to develop that keep me from losing and forgetting shit turned into, well, basically zero. And for that reason, I've already lost 2 of them. One of them slipped out my pocket while I was at the movies, and I'm pretty sure some teenagers stole it, cause after the film, when I was looking for it with my flashlight and shit, these motherfuckers were giggling in the back, looking at me like I was a damn circus clown. Coupled with the fact I was fried as fuck, I was fighting my tears, dog. I just got robbed by some damn teens, and I can't even do shit, cause it was illegal to even bring it in there. Second one I lost in a very similar manner. As I was getting out my Uber going back home, my sweatpants did me dirty and flinged that fucker out as I was standing up. Took me 2 minutes to realize, and when I did, my Uber driver was probably already hitting that shit, cause when I called him back to ask for it, he said,
Let me check. It seems that you only left me a $1 tip. Sorry, I couldn't find it.
And that one hurt the most because that was the first pen I ever had and the one I used for my first penjamin adventure, which my first time was, well, by far the highest I have ever been in my life. I'm talking freaky, I'm talking third person. Shit, it was the first time in years I truly greened the fuck out. For you see, normal weed or bud is just that, normal. So the strength of it is confined in the realms of reality, unless you know it, it's moon rock. Anyway, the biggest difference between smacking a pen versus, let's say, a J is that the pen doesn't have normal bud in it. It has concentrate, which if you're unaware like I was, is about 10 to 20 times stronger than bud. Knowing that, the best way to get faded off the pen is by just taking small rips to avoid getting sent into the goddamn shadow realm. For example, the YouTuber DamianLuck925 is very well known for taking multiple blinkers, which is the biggest hit you can take, outside in social situations, most notably in random classrooms, like it's nothing. So me being at my USA Airbnb alone in the confines of my living room, thought to myself, okay, so it looks like the basic hit I should do at least is 1 blinker, but probably more. Yet what was waiting for me on the other side of Blinker City was something I was not prepared for. Something unholy. The voices. I'll never forget the horrible things they were whispering. They made me almost delete my YouTube channel. Anyway, it started with me ordering a 1-gram pen off of Weed Amazon, and it arrived the very next day in a beat-up Cadillac with a delivery man who, from the looks of it, tests out every product he delivers just, you know, to make sure the quality is there. Yo, bro, you're here for the weed, right? You got the cash? Yeah, I ordered through your website, though. It should be paid for already. Yeah, I forgot I'd take online orders now, too. Anyway, here's the stuff, bro. I trust you. Hey, thanks, bro. Have a good one.
You too, man.
Hello, Mr. Bro. We got a delivery for you from Weed Amazon that should be arriving in an hour or so. Will you be home then?
Wait, didn't I just...
I'm a gorilla in a fucking scoop. Gonna pull up to the zoo.
Oh, I better get out of here.
So I went back to the crib, penjamin in hand, and prepared myself to get faded. And obviously, I went for a blinker, my very first hit. But since I had never smacked the pen before, I inhaled it for about 4 seconds and stopped because it was so light on my throat, I thought it wasn't working, but it actually was. And from that 4-second puff, I was already quite bamboozled. But since I have this weird rule of every time I get new stuff, I break it in by doing a massive hit, I thought, well, fuck. I was supposed to do a blinker, and went for it again. I inhaled and inhaled for a good 8 to 10 seconds, but the thing just wouldn't fucking blink. It got to the point where there was tears coming from my eyes and my throat was begging me to stop, and it ended up like... I had made a grave mistake. I was so fucking high, I felt my soul leave my body. I was so high, I forgot I was even high. But it was just the beginning, cause over the next 10 minutes, I just kept on getting more faded, and the demons in my head kept on getting louder and louder. But if you know me, I kinda refused to green out, so I just kept on doing random shit like reading the ingredients list off my bag of M&Ms, reading the comments on my videos.
Change that dark blue, do things has changed career. Imagine being another YouTuber.
Kill yourself. Was not doing good. I was keeping a strong facade, but inside there was a war going on. I was feeling like Naruto with the 9 tails, only instead of an all-powerful destructive force talking to me, I was just really fucking high. Anyway, so yeah, I was grading out, which hadn't happened to me in years, and I concluded that because the voice of reason was completely being outspoken by the voice of tweaking. The good news is though, the hype from the penjamin doesn't last too long, and in about 1 to 2 hours, I had started coming down, but at that point, I was already crawled up in my bed, scrolling endlessly on my phone, until I finally reached a state where I felt good enough to come out of emergency mode and order some food and ate myself into a food coma. So I learned, well, firstly, that motherfucker Fulcrum is actually insane, or his tolerance is just something else, bro, and that the penjamin is best enjoyed in puffs of 3 to 5 seconds and not blinkers.
I don't know about you, but when I meet a new person and he or she says that he enjoys getting high, I instantly think to myself, this is the start of a beautiful friendship. Although that can't be the case, it's not always, cause even though the excitement of finding a fellow saw enthusiast is great in a world where some mofos still think it's worse than things like alcohol, sleeping pills, all nicotine and other shit that you can straight up buy from a supermarket, in reality, when you really think about it, it's kinda dumb, cause if it was anything else, would you feel the same? Like if you were at a club and someone said they like drinking, you wouldn't think, oh my god, this guy gets it. Unless, you know, you're an alcoholic, I guess. But anyway, today I made a great list of people I've encountered who smoke the zaza, but I wouldn't personally enjoy hanging out with. Starting with a well-known one, the dude who makes the grass his whole personality. Nah bruh, I can't stand dudes like this. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a bit of zaza as much as the next guy, but bro, there's so many other things to talk about and do. The problem with these types of people is that I feel like they've missed the whole point of it all. Cause in my opinion, it's not all about how high you were, it's more about where you were high. Damn, that's deep. Like, I'd rather hang out with a dude who has never been high in his life, but has interesting stories / experiences and doesn't just talk about, yeah bro, I was so damn high last night, I was on planet Venus. Damn, that's crazy. So where were you at? What you mean? Like, where were you and what were you doing, you know? It must be a crazy story. No, I mean, I was just at home on my bed, you know, eating Doritos and stuff. So you were just high in your room all day? Yeah, I mean, yeah. What a fucking lame story. Don't get me wrong, being high in the comfort of your room is probably the best place to be, but like, I'ma keep it $1.25 with you. I've probably been high in my room 100 times by now, and I don't remember a single thing about any of those nights. To me, this experience is more like being in the hub area of a video game after a long and hard mission during the day, and you don't see mofos talking about what a crazy time they had in the title screen of a video game. It's usually, you know, the game itself. But anyway, on to the next guy on the list, who is the dude who will try to shame you for not wanting to get high. You ever met a mofo like this? These dudes are kinda like the previous one, but one step worse, cause instead of accepting that maybe you have shit to do, they'll call you a lame-o or buzzkill or bitch-ass shit-licking, dick-riding, butt-munching, cock-enjoying, sneako-watching soy boy. And for what? Not wanting to waste a day by doing nothing but watching The Simpsons and eating Twinkies? Like, mofos need to realize, although it is great to watch Simpsons and eat Twinkies all day, doing that for 2-3 days in a row, most dudes will feel straight up bad and sad. If you're a human being living in today's day and age, to succeed in anything, you can't be doing that consistently. It's gotta be a special occasion, celebration, or when you've already completed your goals for the day and deserve a break. But hey, at least they don't shame you for the thing this next guy shames you for. The dude who will make fun of you for smoking less than him. Now, this guy is a lot like the first dude, but with the added minus of he actually thinks for some odd reason that the fact that he has to smoke a whole damn cart to feel high is a flex. Like, sorry bro, but I know dudes who have the exact same mentality and let's just say they ain't end up so good. Like for example, this guy, who thought being high is a damn competitive ladder that needed to be climbed. You know, like the army, but instead of protecting your country and preserving peace, it's all about who can smoke the most crack without dying. Like, imagine this same attitude, but instead of Zaza, they'd be doing this with nicotine. Mofo would be 45, working minimum wage in the back of a gas station with a young guy talking about,
What's that? You still puffing on one cig, boy? I'm puffing on 6 at a time. But don't worry, you'll get there someday.
I don't know if I wanna get there, man. Okay, that's never happened, but I'm just trying to show you how ridiculous this is. And P.S., there's a lot more to life than getting high, and I'm definitely not out here being faded 24/7, cause if I was, you'd probably be seeing one video every 2 months. It's all about finding the balance and having the right reasons for inhaling the za.
Types of plugs you will encounter. This topic is very near and dear to my heart, because unfortunately to this day, I still have to rely on these guys for my zaza. So you can imagine after years of experience of buying from tens of different plugs, I'm quite certain I have dealt with every kind there is, from the most vicious acting as gangsta as humanly possible thugs, to the high school dudes who just want to fund their zaza addiction by selling it. And I think it's appropriate to start off with the type of plug I bought from my very first time. And he was the friend who knows a guy who knows a guy who has that exotic. This one isn't really officially a plug per se, but then again, I'm willing to bet this was how most people first encountered any type of zaza seller. Every time when you and your friends discussed the grass and wanted to try it, he always said something like,
Yeah, man, if you really want some, I got a few connects, and they always sell that exotic.
But in reality, dude's connects were usually his older brother or friend who actually knew someone. So for me, the times I did acquire the grass for this man, that shit was always some Reggie for real. And not just that, it always had a massive markup, cause who else can you sell oregano mixed mid-za for premium price than a bunch of stupid youngsters? But I can't fault the homie too much, cause back then, man, I swear, you could smell some grass and get faded, so everything seemed exotic, even if it was mostly herbs and spices bought at the discount aisle at Walmart. But even so, I ain't mad, cause that's the nature of business, I guess. If a dude is willing to buy your oregano pack for $30, then so be it. You gotta learn from it and move on. And so I did, and found myself a new plug, who was
Yeah, bro, that's an eighth. It's just like super compact. You know, like a diamond.
the dude who always shorts you. A plug like this never has any longevity, cause I mean, after being shorted 1 or 2 times max, however much you crave the za, usually your self-respect won't allow you to go back to mans like. So, you got the 8th?
Yeah, of course, dog. I'm gonna hook you up nicely this time. This some good shit.
Nice. Show me the bag real quick though.
Gotcha, big dog. Here it is. Where is it?
Oh, wait, hold up, my bad. You need this to see it.
Okay.
Do you see it now? It's like super compact, you know, like a diamond.
Yeah, like a diamond, right? Yeah, okay, but I'm gonna have to skip this one. I don't really even want any za right now.
Alright, bro, you're a loss. Get the fuck out of my car.
You don't want no smoke, don't want no jazz.
These the plugs who exclusively sell to stupid kids, cause anybody with any understanding of how 1 gram of za should look like would just tell him to F off and remove him on Snapchat. But this guy also abuses his status of the plug to provoke fear into dudes who don't yet know any better and think these guys are all freaking mafia level gangsters who, if you disagree with them, finna pull a Scarface and take out a M249 and start going bananas. But don't feel too bad if you've fallen for this scam before, cause I have too. In fact, I had a friend who was supposed to get 1 gram, but the plug gave him 0.1, and my man still bought it. Mostly cause he didn't even know how much a gram is supposed to look like. Next type on the list is the complete opposite, and one of my favorites, and he is the always faded plug. This guy could also be called the plug who only sells to fund his copious amount of zaza consuming on a daily basis. And why he is one of my favorites is for multiple reasons. Firstly, because he is the king of getting high off his own supply, he always has a comment on the stuff you're getting. Secondly, because mans is faded 24/7, he don't really want any confrontation, so he'll probably never short you. In fact, sometimes out of the warmth of his heart, he'll throw some extra in there, depending if he likes you as a customer or not. And lastly, because he has evolved to a point where being high is his normal state, which don't ever get that far. It's not good for your health, and it can and will ruin your life no matter how much you hear
Zaza isn't
addictive. It can be if you take it too far. But anyway, because of the fact he cannot live without the magic ring plant in his system, in my experience, he has always had a 100% success rate to the text,
Hey yo, you got any?
that meaning, mans is more reliable than a Volvo, mans is more dependable than James Bond, mans is more loyal than a golden retriever, god damn! The only problem for you, the customer, is he is usually pretty on and off on the plug-in business, because if you can get that addicted to za, it's usually a personality trait, so knowing that, this guy either smokes every day 24/7, or he is completely grass-free. And when he is grass-free, he disappears like the Avatar.
So yeah. But now on to the next plug on the list, and he is the plug who should have probably started an actual business instead. This plug is quite rare, and I've only ever met one of these mofos, but oh boy, what a roller coaster ride it was. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was looking for some grass, so I hit up my usual plug, only for him to inform me he is, quote, out of the game, but will give me the Snapchat of a guy who is, quote, new to the game. And so he did. And after writing mans asking for some grass, he told me to meet up near a construction store. And since this was a while ago, I ain't have my license yet, so I ran me an e-scooter and rolled up. And the person who greeted me was none other than Mr. Invisible. Yeah, no, that was like his actual Snapchat username. Anyway, it was the short guy who kinda looked like a goblin, but he seemed quite serious and was the first plug ever to write me afterwards asking, how was the stuff? And after replying, he also gave me a freaking affiliate program. Not for real. He told me every friend I link him up with, he will give me 20 bucks if they ever buy from him. I ended up not doing that cause it kinda seemed ridiculous. Like, bro, you sell grass, not fucking VPN subscriptions. But over the next 6 months, I would see this man build a Snapchat grass cartel. Dudes was posting stories every day of his illegal activities like he had the cops under his payroll or something. And funniest part was, over the 6 months that I acquired the grass from him, I saw how his $10 camo pants and $15 Shane jacket turned into Gucci pants and an Armani jacket. Like, goddamn! Bro was really trying to be the local Scarface, and dudes even had mofos working for him. Like, sometimes I'd write him and he'd literally reply, come here, I'll get an employee to bring it to you. Employee? Bro was acting like he Mr. Krabs, sending SpongeBob to secure the secret formula. But unfortunately, his plugging career ended in about 6 months, where he sent us off with a heartwarming goodbye on his Snapchat story reading, greetings, my beloved customers. I am informing you all that I will unfortunately no longer be your plug, as I am moving on. It was great while it lasted, and I wish you all the best. As for the Zaza, I mentioned 3 people in this story who will fill my shoes in this field. Stay cool. Peace out. And the craziest part is, I'm not making any of this up. This dude was a legit comedy movie character, and his personality reflected it. He was like the generic Slav trapper guy who tried his hardest to act as gangsta as humanly possible, and every sentence man said had to have at least 2 curse words. So yeah, although he is the most memorable plug I've ever had, he definitely wasn't my favorite. That spot has to go to the friendly neighborhood plug. The best plug a man can ask for. This would be the dude that lives close to your neighborhood, so you don't have to travel around the whole of Skyrim just to get some za. But if that wasn't enough, this the plug that also, as the name suggests, is friendly and doesn't act all gangsta, nor shorts you for no reason, nor is high 24/7. He's just a chill, reliable guy. And sometimes he'll even come to you, cause you live in the same neighborhood and he enjoys riding his bike while flipping packs and making racks. And unfortunately, however much this dude is just a normal human being, in the field of plugs, well, he's like a diamond. Very rare. So if you got yourself a plug like this, be thankful for your blessings, cause your next one is probably gonna be the usual local wannabe Pablo Escobar. But hey, plugs usually switch like every 4 months anyway, so don't be discouraged when yours is, well, weird. But before I go, make sure you join the Discord and take part on this Sunday's smoke sesh with me, where we might play Among Us. I don't know, we'll see. Until then, peace! Have you ever met someone who parades the fact that he loves the Zaza? And if you ever say anything bad about it, he gets all defensive and starts frantically arguing about how it's good for you. Like, yeah bro, there are health benefits, but if you're out here doing 8 rips, 4 2 edibles, and half a cart every 12 hours, do you really think you're reaping the health benefits of the Za? Mofo beyond about, it helps with my anxiety and depression. Like bro, what are you anxious about? Worried that the pizza delivery guy might be an assassin? Sounds more like paranoia to me. And have you stopped to think that maybe the depression you're feeling could be because all you does is sit around, eat pizzas, smoke grass, and watch Disney Plus? But people like this aren't the majority, and overall, when you meet a fellow grass eater, you can expect him to be just a normal chill dude who uses the za to enhance his experiences, rather than rely on it for them. So today, I thought I'd go over some of the coolest dudes I've encountered who consume that lettuce, starting with the za athlete. This the guy who's always in the gym grinding to become the ultimate specimen of human movement. The thing that's great about this dude is that although he loves the grass, which is generally considered a lazy substance, he doesn't let that stereotype stop him from enjoying it. Although many of his athlete friends might hold it against him, calling him a crackhead, He knows that it's all about moderation and using the zaza to enhance his recovery and free time experiences. But the best part about a dude like this is that you know he is a solid guy, that you don't have to worry about leading you down a bad road, cause he is always mindful of where the breaking point between just having a fun time with the homies and
Hey bros, wanna do some
is. So if you're friends with this guy, you can be damn sure he won't ever peer pressure you into doing something stupid. In fact, he'll probably be the one who will try to talk you out of something like that. Plus, you know, depending on the athlete, he might make the NBA, so best to stay on his good side if you ever want to blaze up in a LA mansion with Wiz Khalifa and Drake and shit. But on to the next dude on the list, the high gamer. I'm not sure how you guys feel about video games, but I've always seen the genre as the highest form of at-home entertainment there is. Although it is a lot harder to truly get into a game nowadays, when you do, the peaks of fun are much higher than watching a Netflix show, for example. Although that's just my opinion and yours might obviously be different. So you better believe it when I say I love dudes who enjoy gaming in orbit, because that's something that two zaza enjoyers can truly bond over. Now you might be thinking,
everybody enjoys playing games. Ain't nothing special about it.
I'd have to respectfully disagree, because it takes a certain level of power to really sit down whilst blasted and focused on a video game, cause honestly, most of the time it ends up going something like this. Finally time to play some Elden Ring whilst blasted. This is about to be crazy fun.
20 minutes later.
Man, screw this, I'm gonna just watch some TikToks. As you can see, it's not that easy, but if you have a friend who's on the same planet as you and you going through the struggle together in a co-op game, it's much easier to get into. So I for one will always have a special place in my heart for dudes who can actually game while blasted, cause honestly, it's not as easy as you might think, especially if the session lasts over 1 hour. But time for the productive and successful Not gonna lie, these dudes are like a rare Pokemon that you might never come across because the requirements to be a dude like this are rather high, but the power he possesses is godly. This is the dude that has his own business or works like a sales job or something, which is a highly social and time-consuming practice. But somehow this mofo has done all of this while frequently bucking off the zaza. He's kinda like the Wolf of Wall Street, but instead of doing lines off a lady's you know what I mean. He's out here taking a fat rip and then minutes later closing a massive deal with some company. I met a guy like this only once, and I won't stand here and act like I was not in awe of this man's power. We were all just chilling, faded AF, when this guy got a phone call, and not just any phone call, it was some company he was trying to make a client for the company he worked for. And me being me, all I could think of was, oh shit, dude must be freaking out being that faded, having to deal with something like that. But no, bro calmly told us he'll be back in like 10 minutes, went to the other room and closed the deal, or at least that's what it seemed like. I swear, some people just have a godlike stress tolerance, cause man, I can be out here faded and get a call from my mom to pick up some groceries, and that shit will have me stressing out if it wasn't in my initial plan. I guess what I'm trying to say is, for 95% of people, if you high every day, you're gonna get lazy and content with your position in life. But there are people who can manage to pull off this lifestyle and still be successful, and god damn do I respect that. Although I'd imagine that if they weren't high all the time, they'd be even more successful. But hey, what do I know? Anyway, next guy on the list is the artsy dude. Now, this guy isn't exactly what you're thinking. And yes, I know you're imagining this painter who's always on about, bruh, you just gotta go with the flow. Let yourself be free and you'll find peace. Sorry, but what the fuck does that even mean? Although these guys can be cool, their gimmick gets old pretty quick. The dude I like is more of just a Chad who has a highly functioning imagination. Cause with a guy like this, you always have something to talk about, and they come up with some of the most interesting things. Plus, they're usually not just some hippie dude who enjoys saying shit that makes no sense and expects everybody to think he's deep cause he saw a quote on TikTok and it really resonated with him. He's more of the dude who'll say some master Oogway quote and explain how that funny meme actually says something deep about life, but then ended with, I don't actually know, I might just be too high. And I love that, cause sometimes a mofo is just too high and sees a deeper meaning in something that doesn't have.
January 1st, 2014. There is a line of people in front of a store in Denver, Colorado. Time goes by and they finally open, which then a man walks in and buys the first ever legal recreational bag of weed in the US and gets absolutely obliterated. And I'm pretty sure no one expected this event to bring forth one of the fastest growing industries in the United States. From being known as the murder drug in India to going to your local dispensary and buying a $80 bag of banana strawberry pudding flavored weed, this is the story of how the zaza went from illegal to a projected $100 billion industry by 2028. And it all started in the early 1900s. The initial regulation of cannabis in the United States came with the enactment of the 1937 Marijuana Tax Act. There is a widespread belief that the decision to outlaw cannabis was driven by racial motivations, for you see, during the early 1900s, a growing influx of Mexican immigrants into the US prompted a shift in media discourse towards portraying the ganja as a dangerous substance, leading to the implementation of stricter drug and cannabis laws. Media reports even went as far as labeling marijuana as the murder drug. Yeah bro, not meth and not coke, weed was the murder drug.
What are you doing, bro? Smoking that murder drug.
Oh, I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, man, it makes you violent and literally go insane.
Oh, damn, I'll put it away. Thanks for warning me. Nah, you good, just don't do it again. What's that?
This? Don't worry, this is just crack.
Also, during this time, newspapers frequently circulated assertions linking marijuana use to mental illness, promiscuity, and violent behavior. These claims significantly deterred recreational marijuana use among the majority of Americans, despite the substance not being widely recognized at the time. Which, my favorite of the bunch is definitely violent behavior. I just can't deny that every time I smoke a doozy at the end of my day, I get this sudden rage, and I just start fucking going apeshit. That's probably also a big reason why Bob Marley was such a war activist and always propagating rage and hatred.
Disclaimer, that was all sarcasm.
Anyway, later on, John Ehrlichman, or whatever the fuck his name is, a senior advisor to Nixon, was quoted as saying, well, the quote is pretty long and boring, so I'll just summarize it. Pause the video if you want to see the full version. Did we know we were finessing the public about weed?
See, of course, dog. But you gotta understand, bro. We did it for America. We got the public to associate hippies with weed and blacks with heroin. Then we criminalized the shit out of it and went full commando on them. We talking Rambo. We talking death to the chopper. Shit, we went full D-Day on them motherfuckers, man. We hit so many damn licks. Shit was kinda ridiculous.
This quote was kinda the catalyst of the 1970 Controlled Substance Act, which was the consolidation of over 200 previous drug laws into a single statute governing the production and distribution of specific substances. And since we're on the subject of production and distribution, I'd like to let you know that CBD Bro Shop will be relocating to a new warehouse sometime in the near future. With that will come new products, making everything sold right now limited edition as fuck. So if you've been eyeing the glow-in-the-dark BONG, the metal grinders, or anything else, just know if you buy now, one day their value will be up like 10,000%. Well, I can't guarantee that, but the stuff being sold currently really will be an ultra flex for when CBD Bro Shop becomes the #1 smoke shop in the world, or at least that's my vision and goal. So click the link in the pinned comment or description and use the secret code OGCBD for 20% off. But now back to the video. Under the Controlled Substance Act, drugs were categorized into 5 schedules based on their potential for abuse and medical utility. This streamlined the process of drafting and amending laws to encompass entire groups of drugs rather than addressing each one individually. Schedule 1 drugs, the most rigorously regulated, were classified as having no recognized medical value, so obviously medical marijuana must have been like the lowest schedule, right? Wrong! Despite evidence indicating a lower risk of abuse and clear medical benefits, marijuana was still placed under Schedule 1. Research has demonstrated its effectiveness in treating conditions such as AIDS, cancer, epilepsy, and various other medical ailments. But I guess Congress was still like,
it's not the Lord's loud. It's the devil's lettuce.
Since its initial prohibition, there have been ongoing movements advocating for the legalization of cannabis, which in the 1970s pressure to legalize weed intensified in California. Proposition 19 aimed to legalize the grass and was introduced on the ballot in 1972, but garnered only 33% of the vote, so it failed for now. The push for legalization has primarily focused on three distinct products: CBD, medical marijuana, and everybody's favorite, recreational marijuana. So finally in 1996, California became the pioneering state to overturn the prohibition of weed by legalizing medical marijuana, despite conflicting with the federal law, brah. Subsequently, in 2012, Colorado and Washington became the first states to legalize recreational weed use. Oh yeah. Yo bro, did you hear? Weed is finally legal. Really? Yeah bro, I just bought this from a store. Shit is wild. So you're telling me if I went down to my underground farm, harvest my 20 or so pounds of weed, then go to the university campus, set up a weed lemonade stand, and sell all of my lemon haze to the students, I'm not a drug dealer and just a businessman? Nah, I think you can like have a couple grams, and your operation is still, well, not gonna lie bro, I got a wire and the FBI should be kicking your door in right about... Which brings us to today, where the zaza is still federally illegal and a Schedule 1 drug, and because of that, there really isn't a lot of research on it. Between 2000 and 2018, $1.56 billion was allocated to cannabis research, with half of this sum dedicated to investigating the potential adverse effects of the drug in recreational use. This disproportionate allocation meant that understanding the harms of weed received 20 times more funding than any other area of research, while only a fraction, less than $5 million, was directed towards enhancing our understanding of its therapeutic application. In 2018 though, the Farm Bill legalized CBD throughout the US, as long as it followed the rules of staying below 0.3% THC, which this Farm Bill turned out to have a shit ton of legal loopholes, making the sale of real weed online completely legal and possible. More on that later. Anyway, because of the lack of research and, well, frankly awful regulations, we are currently in the wild west of the cannabis industry. You might assume buying weed from a big brand is safer than, let's say, your friendly neighborhood plug, and in some cases it might be, but a lot of times your plug is selling you the same shit a dispensary is, just the dispensary is putting it in a fancy bag. Even worse, there's a big issue with sprayed weed, which basically means bud that is artificially flavored in a machine to give the illusion of it being some exotic Havana pack, when in reality it's just a mid sprayed with banana flavor. So you're telling me this eighth costs $100 because it was grown and harvested in Uganda, Africa, right next to the exotic banana farms, and that's why it's banana flavor? Yup. Then why is there a spray bottle right there labeled banana?
Why are you asking so many questions, man? Are you a cop?
What? No. Guys, get over here, we gotta kill this guy. But you can't fully blame the growers and dispensaries for this. The problem is the regulations and taxes that are put on these products are so hefty it makes turning a profit really hard. Basically, if your manufacturing cost isn't like at least 10 times less what you're selling it for, you're kinda screwed. There's also a multi-billion-dollar industry that spawned from the 2018 Farm Bill called the derivative industry, and if you don't know what derivatives are, they're basically weed, but sometimes altered chemically, like for example HHC, which is just THC but with an extra hydrogen molecule. The most insane derivative is THCA though, which is quite literally just weed, only in its normal state before you heat it, it isn't. It's only after when you light it that shit converts to regular old get you smacked like a penguin THC, which, you know, unless your main method of getting high is sticking the nug up your ass. What I'm saying is, THCA is in every sense just THC when you are using it for the purpose of getting faded, which you probably are. But just because we are currently in the wild west of the weed industry doesn't mean it's gonna be like this forever. More and more countries are legalizing and propelling weed further and further away from the dark shadow it used to be under. Germany is legalizing on April 1st, 2024, Spain has social cannabis clubs, the Netherlands just legalized, Canada legalized, etc. It seems every year that goes by, more and more countries are legalizing, legalizing, and especially in the US, once they start getting solid tax laws and regulations on the stuff, I think a lot of the problems I mentioned earlier will fix themselves. Honestly, this is very cool, and I do believe you and me will live long enough to one day witness a generation who grow up with weed being looked at the same way as alcohol. The way I see it, as the old generation of politicians and world leaders fades, the stigma surrounding weed will too. You can even see glimpses of it today, as a lot of politicians are using legal weed as a way to get your vote, which, don't let that be your main motivation for voting for someone, but, it's a bonus.
10,000 BC, a group of cavemen in the Oki Islands of Japan needed some warmth and wanted to start a fire when they discovered a funny looking green plant, and either out of curiosity or desperation took it and inadvertently created history's first ever hotbox. Yet this early grass was not that loud that people be smoking today, because as we know, over the years the zaza has been scientifically and artificially cultivated to be much more concentrated in the high it gives. So although it is funny to think about a group of cavemen purposely starting a fire in a small shelter for the sole purpose of getting faded in a hoe, it is unlikely that it actually ever happened. Yet aside from this iffy recreational stint in Japan, hemp was first commonly used in the lands that are modern day Mongolia and China for more practical uses like eating it. Which, after saying that, you might be imagining something like this. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Had any fun with those new seeds I gave you?
Yo, nah, I actually came here to give them back. Last night I was looking at the moon and I swear that motherfucker was looking right back at me.
But alas, this probably wasn't the reality, because the THC levels in this early cultivated zaza were just really low, but soon the Chinese would discover that the holy plant's fibers were also great for making stuff too, like clothes, paper, and bowstrings. Which turns out hemp fibers were superior to the bamboo ones used by rivaling factions, allowing the Chinese to shoot their arrows much further. So basically, back in the day, if you were having a long distance bow battle and were losing, you might have screamed out, "We need to get closer! These motherfuckers have weed!" Anyway, it wasn't long after when mofos realized that the loud wasn't only good for making stuff, it was also great for treating physical maladies. And after a couple thousand years, Emperor Shen Nung, known as the father of Chinese medicine, included the magic plant in his medical encyclopedia under the name Ma. Which, that sounds oddly similar to za, doesn't it? I'm guessing every couple thousand years the first letter changes or something. But now, let's explore the question we're all asking. When exactly did mofos start ripping that shit to get faded? Well, one of the earliest counts is about 2,500 years ago, when researchers discovered 10 mini barbecues in a cemetery near modern-day Tajikistan that had residue of burnt cannabis with a much higher concentration of THC than normal, probably meaning it was selectively bred to get you, well, lit. Although this was one of the first counts of people purposely inhaling the broccoli to get high, it was most likely used as part of a ritual to invoke an altered state of mind, so you could communicate with spirits. Which shit, dog, I wanna know what these dudes were smoking, cause I ain't never heard of no grass that gets you to the spirit realm. This might have low-key been the last kush Snoop Dogg smoked, cause once you get so high you start communicating with your dead gran-gran, that's when you really might be like,
Okay, I think it's about time I stop smoking this shit.
Since cannabis, for one reason or another, proved to be quite the useful plant, people started trading it around the world as soon as it was domesticated. Which the only people who didn't really fuck with the zaza were Europeans, who preferred getting hammered instead. Which is low-key reflected in modern times too, especially in the northern countries, where once you turn 18, you can drink as much poison as you want, but if you want to blaze, well, you might be looking at a little bit of jail time, my boy. But now, let's quickly go over the uses of cannabis throughout different cultures so we can move on to the modern age, starting with Hindus. They made something called bang, an edible cannabis paste that had medicinal properties but also got you high. This could be added to a variety of foods and drinks, which this bang was the preferred food of the Hindu god Shiva, making him in my eyes the god of edibles.
Disclaimer, that was a joke.
Islam. Here the za was called hashish and was introduced about 1,000 years ago, which hashish wasn't strictly forbidden in the Quran at first, so a lot of Muslims ate it for its medicinal and relaxation properties. But later, Egypt basically banned it, and also the Quran was revisited by many and reinterpreted to include hashish to be banned just like alcohol. The Vikings. These dudes basically used the za to make rope, sailcloth, and other things, but also for its medicinal properties, mostly to relieve pain, and to date, there's no hard evidence that they consumed it for its recreational use, but, maybe they should have, because they were quite the horrendous savages and murderers, so it might have made them think a little bit about peace and love. But what about
about America, England, and the actual global world powers? How did they react to weed? Well, again, like the Chinese, Europeans and Americans at first prominently used the magic green plant in the 16th to 18th century for more practical things like making sailcloth and rope, which the plant itself grew much larger in the New World soil, and combined with the practicality of it, everything started being hemp-derived. Clothes, paper, well, basically anything that required fibers. But the question still remains, when did mofos start smoking that shit to get blasted on the regular? Cause although at some point you, your neighbor, your grandma, your boss, and even George Washington were out here growing weed, wasn't nobody out here rolling them up. Well, until the arrival of Mexicans. The loud version of hemp first arrived in Brazil in the early 1500s by way of enslaved Africans traveling with the Portuguese. And the native South Americans, who are already consuming some other psychoactive substances, quickly started blazing the zaza too, and its use soon spread across South America and into Mexico, from which in the 1910s is when the loud first spread into the US via Mexican immigrants escaping the effects of the Mexican Revolution. And almost immediately the good was viewed as a threat, and by 1931, 29 states had banned its use. Although it wasn't really the zaza that the US didn't fall with, it was unfortunately mostly just racism against Mexican Americans and black citizens of the South, which both these groups were enjoyers of the zaza to some regard, so it became a scapegoat for racial bias in the US, and they blamed it for everything from petty crimes all the way to murder. And in 1937, the US completely banned all non-medical use of weed, which all of this kind of explains why the mostly peaceful plant has been thrown in the same Schedule 1 category with full-on life-destroying substances like heroin and cocaine. But thankfully, a couple decades later came the hippie movement of the 1960s to 1970s. This is what likely sparked a comeback for weed, cause unlike before, when the zaza was mostly smoked by Mexican immigrants and black citizens who the US was massively racist against, the hippie movement had middle-class white American youth start blazing too. Which it was all about love, peace, spirituality, non-violence, and of course, every hippie's favorite, recreational drug use. Although most hippies were all about peace and love, that was quite easy to say when most of them were literally privileged enough to drop out of college, run off with Cassandra in a rainbow van, go on copious amounts of mindset-altering trips, mostly powered by LSD, and then return 10 years later to their parents and have them say,
It's okay, son. I was young and stupid once too.
Anyway, although the grass was still federally illegal, this didn't really do much, cause in 1976, 1 in 8 Americans over the age of 12 admitted to smoking it in the past 30 days. Hippies though were especially interested in cannabis, so much so they went on something called the Hippie Trail, which was basically an excursion by the youths of the world to go over to the Middle East and India, all while riding in magic buses and discovering new ways to get absolutely blasted, such as smoking the concentrated zaza resin known as hash. But acquiring the zaza would soon get much harder, because you see, most of it came from Mexico, so in 1969 the US started patrolling the border, and in 1975 they got even more aggressive and started spraying herbicide on Mexican weed plants. And so good old supply and demand made grass prices skyrocket, which a lot of people started then growing the plant themselves in mini greenhouses, closets, bathtubs, storage units, basements, wherever they could. But then in 1982, Mr. Smarty Pants Ronald Reagan took it even a step further by encouraging the streamlined arrest of anyone in possession of an illegal substance, which was really dumb because most of the focus was on pot, all while crack, meth, and heroin were all still being transported and consumed on a regular basis. Even worse, this enforcement seemed to be racially motivated because despite plenty of traffickers and consumers being white, the majority of arrests were Latino and black youths, all while this bizarre over-focus on cannabis allowed the growing opioid epidemic to go unchecked. But thankfully, the US is slowly learning from their mistakes, where today 24 states have legalized the recreational use of marijuana. On top of that, the increased level of research on it has also found multiple medical use cases and can be prescribed to you by special doctors if seen fit. And although the zaza is still federally illegal and a Schedule 1 drug, the overall perception of it has changed for the better, including in December 2022 when President Biden signed a bill to make it easier for researchers
researchers to obtain plants for their studies, which will hopefully accelerate the learning of positive and negative side effects of consuming the za even further. But all that aside, the overall vibe towards the loud has gotten a lot more accepting, and these days more and more people view the smoking of the grass not as you being a junkie, but the same way as having a couple beers with the homies on a Friday night and watching some WWE. But what's your opinion on the devil's lettuce? Should it be legal everywhere, or are you still iffy on it? Comment that down below, and see you in the next one. Man, smoking too much is such an awkward thing, especially because of how normalized getting faded has become. Nobody wants to be the guy who kills the vibe by admitting they graining the thaw out. Like, dudes be knowing they approaching their limit, but peer pressure is a bitch. Like this one time in school when we were smacking the paper penjamin on lunch break, and I could tell everybody was nearing the border between Yodiland and the upside down, but this motherfucker salamander just kept on passing the J, and nobody wanted to be the first one to back out. Everyone kept on puffing and puffing until this one motherfucker just started puking. Like, goddamn. Safe to say, dude probably hasn't smoked again till this day. But you know, that was high school. Most kids weren't on that Wiz Khalifa pack like salamander. I mean, this dude's parents were barely home, so mans must have just been low-key looking for attention by acting out, but instead all he got was Snoop Dogg's tolerance and all the school thotties daily driving his dick. Some of you might not even know what it feels like when you smoke too much though. Shit, I know I didn't. My dumbass always just concluded that the stuff was laced, which looking back at it now makes me feel like a dinglebop for real. I mean, how you gonna smoke way more than you usually do in a situation you're not super comfortable in and then blame it on the weed? It's like a drunk driver suing an alcohol brand for making him unable to drive straight. Shit, it's like going to the store and buying too much food and then blaming the cashier for not stopping you. Like, bro, it's not on Jimmy the Plug God. Dudes is probably smoking the same stuff as we speak. And yeah, I know sometimes it could actually be laced, but what does telling yourself that help? Like, wouldn't it be better to believe it's not and your brain is just tweaking? Then you could maybe, you know, calm yourself down. Unlike when you've convinced yourself the plug is a fucking supervillain going around giving his customers schizophrenia. Like, goddamn son, someone's gotta like the bat signal for real. But shit, I'm out here preaching like I ain't done this myself. Back when I was younger, I did green out a couple times, but since then, I have developed rules I follow to avoid this at all costs. Like, for example, first rule, you don't always gotta get obliviated, bruh. Seems simple enough, right? But back in the day, every time we were smoking, my dumbass felt like I had to get higher than last time. Once the J reached me, I just...
Thanks, bro. You guys got another one?
Bro. No. There's just some basic etiquette too, like everybody wanna get faded equally, but one thing with smokers is they're usually always chill and peaceful, so when you start hogging a spliff, rarely is somebody gonna forcefully take that shit from you. Just next time when you pull up, they'll bag your ass, pistol whip you, throw you in the trunk, and bury you alive next to Mr. Beast. That video would probably have to be on Rumble though. But point is, you don't always gotta be the highest in the room. Second rule, accept your limits. This is low-key the most important and the most difficult, but you might be thinking something like, don't you mean know your limits? No, I don't, bro. Cause I bet most y'all know them. Just when you be watching Fulcrum smacking the penjamin like that bitch be only containing O2, you get a false understanding on how much mofos be actually smoking. Cause you can always do more, but what you can't do is forcefully remove the THC from your system and get less high. So don't be a victim of peer pressure just cause you wanna be cool, fool. But these rules don't mean shit if you don't factor in where you are and what you're doing. Which leads me to the day that made me come up with these rules. The time in my young life when I smoked so much in the wrong place, I was goddamn obliviated. Shit, I smoked so much I had less dialogue options than an Oblivion NPC. The first time I got high outside the comfort of me or a friend's crib, it was the usual business. We were chilling with the gremlins, me, Salamander, and Ricky, smoking up, talking about how we don't fall with school and how we finna make it out the hood. You know, the usual Gen Z shit. When Salamander, being the thotty magnet he was, got a text from one of his female companions inviting to what this motherfucker claimed to be a chill hangout spot. Although I do trust the homies, knowing Salamander's track record, I was a bit sus, cause I seen the places this dude hangs out at. I'll be waking up at the middle of the night to take a piss, then check the snap only to see dudes partying at some straight up trap house bugging off fucking ketamine. Okay, can't say that on YouTube, but let's just say it wasn't weed. Anyway, you know the drill. I don't wanna go, Salamander uses his 99 speech, convinces Ricky, now it's a 2v1, and I fold. Epic victory royale. But I agreed only under the condition
then none of us drink nor do anything else but smoke the Lord's loud, because it was a motherfucking Thursday after all, so I wasn't trying to pull up to school smelling like a bum, acting like a depressed middle-aged man from The Hangover. Looking back at it though, that was probably the wrong call, cause, well, you'll see. So we're walking to the crib and Salamander lights up this comically big J that he rolled back at his place with a week's supply. While we're almost finished puffing and on the edge of obliviation, I see this super dope house that seems to be having a party, so I excitedly ask Salamander, "Yo, is that the spot?" Bro, okay, that place does seem pretty dope. "Oh yeah, that's the spot. Glad you fought with it. Some people are kinda put off by it from the initial appearance. Anyway, let's just go in." "Yeah, it looks pretty cool. You first though." Where are you going?" What do you mean?" "The crib, bro. Leave it to Salamander to have you walk through an amazing street filled with beautiful houses and lead you to the only one that looks like Shrek's vacation home." To add to it, me and Ricky were quite frankly bugging. But as I mentioned in the previous rules, that's not always a good thing, especially when you're preparing to go into a house where your brain has calculated a 50-50 chance of being stabbed in the gut by a freaking tweaker with a kitchen knife. In my head, I was thinking, well, hoping for the saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover" to be the case here. But oh boy, I should have judged the goddamn book by its cover and dashed off like Prime Usain Bolt. Cause what we were dealing with was in every sense of the word except not containing any of the actual substance, I think, a crack house. These people were blasting some of the most disgusting music I've ever heard. Shit sounding like the noise a speaker makes when you fiddle with the aux cord. And because I was high, that set the whole tone of my experience there. And shit, I did not know Salamander hanged out with vampires. Most of the dudes there were looking what you would imagine the local bum to be when he was young. I was in total shock. My teenage brain could not comprehend the degeneracy, the idiocy, the overall lack of humanity in that house. And it's not like I didn't try to have fun, but our highness did not mix with whatever the fuck these guys were on. At some point, I saw him pull out a vodka bottle, and they drank the whole thing in 5 minutes dry, straight from the bottle, like they were trying to speedrun liver failure. I attempted to conversate with some of them, but to no avail. I mean, what did I expect though? A drunk person usually isn't on the same wavelength as a high person, combined with the fact these dudes probably just got done sacrificing a goat to bring forth the Antichrist. I was starting to tweak the fuck out. Well, not tweak, I guess. Me and Ricky did have some fun by just bantering about how messed up of a place we had found ourselves in. All of this didn't seem to affect Salamander though, as we spotted him rizzing up a girl we assumed was the one that invited him, but we were wrong in that assessment because 5 minutes later the girl who actually invited him saw it, went up to him, yelled at him, and then slapped that man so hard it made him rethink his whole damn life. Cause as we were laughing at what had happened, he walked straight towards us and said, "Man, you guys want to do some ketamine?" Nah, he actually told us that this was probably a bad idea and that he's ready to leave if we are. Good thing too, cause if that girl hadn't slapped some sense into him, Salamander might have gone on to do the thing I mentioned like 3 times in this video. So anyway, we went back home at like 2 AM or something, put on some WWE on the TV, prepared to gleep, and got obliviated. Doesn't go much further than that. Smoking alone. It's a lot different than smoking with a group because, well, you're alone, so it's exclusively your job to explore those high thoughts and piece together fun activities to enjoy the high. And if all goes well, you'll have a blast, scrolling shorts, playing games, watching movies, pondering the scale of the universe and how nothing actually matters. It's great! But it comes with a catch. You see, when you're with a group of friends, it's much easier to stay on subject and destroy the evil thoughts the grass might curse you with. So, in my experience, when I'm getting high alone, I usually smoke a bit less just cause being super mega high is 99% of the time best enjoyed with a group and not by yourself. Unfortunately, when I was a youngster, I hadn't discovered this. In fact, I accidentally got the highest I'd ever been up until that point. And the demons I faced that night made me who I am today. The story begins with a high schooler CBD bro who had planned a great adventure with the main homie Salamander and Ricky. Well, not a great adventure per se. We were gonna go to Salamander's place on Friday night and get absolutely obliterated off that zaza. And for that, I had secured a whole gram of that exotic the Friday before. And although very tough, I fought the urge to blaze for a whole week just so we could demolish it all together in one night.
And if you watch some of my older videos, you know Salamander had a bit of a funky home situation, so a lot of times his house was completely free, and this was supposed to be the case on this beautiful night as well. So you know your boy was excited as an 8-year-old on Christmas for this upcoming Friday night high extravaganza. But it all came crashing down when Salamander texted me, "Hey yo, my parents came home tonight and well, they found my bong, so I'm basically in the gulag now, so no smoke sesh tonight, nor probably the next night, nor, well, until they leave again. See you once I serve my time. LOL. A true tragedy. Our plans have been foiled by none other than Salamander's stinky old bong. I think you guys can see where this story is going. I had a whole gram of that fine exotic grass, and I've been holding myself back for a whole week in anticipation for the now cancelled high extravaganza. So here I was, standing in my shitty little dorm, filled with sorrow. I decided, screw it, I'ma just smoke alone. So I put my level 99 J-rolling skills to use, and after about 15 minutes of fumbling the spliff, I had done it. I rolled a J that was intended for free people, and headed outside to smoke it all by myself. After heading out, I went to my favorite park bench that was just outside the dormitory territory, and started chipping away at the abomination I created. 1 puff, 2 puffs, 3 puffs. I was faded than a hoe, but nowhere near the fadedness I had been waiting for. I continued puffing away until I reached the halfway point and my mouth became drier than the Sahara Desert, bro. So I took a little break to try to figure out how high I truly was. As I stared into nothingness for a good minute, I felt my first person camera slowly pull away into third person, like I was in GTA 5 or something. And I have no shame in saying I didn't smoke the whole thing, cause I was starting to get a bit paranoid, so I took my half-smoked 1G spliff and headed back to my dorm. And bro, you know those creepy pictures that are creepy because they look familiar, like it's just a normal pic, but then you really look at them and realize they ain't normal? Yeah, well, that's how I felt when I walked through the hallway leading to my room. But anyway, once I got to my room, I was still feeling paranoid. Like, it was weird cause I had never felt that way before from Za, and I think that's just cause when you get high with others, you're kinda comforted by the fact that you're not alone in the feeling of being absolutely smacked out of your mind. Thankfully, I did find some comfort in my favorite platform, YouTube. So I started watching some good vibey videos and slowly snapped out of my paranoid state, but was instantly greeted with a new problem. An uncontrollable sensation that if not satisfied will drive you right back to where you started. I'm talking of course about the munchies. So I gathered my strength and started walking to the closest store, and once I arrived, well, I ain't even gonna lie, my wallet was at the mercy of the za, bro. So basically every food item I saw, my brain went, bro, see those Twinkies? That shit looks bussin'. Yeah, I know, but it's $4 and I already got like $25 worth of stuff in my car.
Nah, bruh. Screw all that. You buy this fucking bag of Twinkies or I'm giving you a panic attack right here, right now, bro.
Okay, I'll buy the Twinkies.
Yeah, of course you will. Well, while you're at it, take that cheese sauce for the nachos too.
Okay, I will. After my brain finished ganking the shit out of my wallet, I went back to my room and started demolishing everything I bought. And after that whole munch sesh, I was feeling a lot less high too, but also my stomach was a bit upset, so I took a massive dump, laid down on my bed, and started scrolling shorts. And I scrolled and scrolled until I passed out without even brushing my teeth and still in my clothes. So you can imagine the next day, I had a bit of a kush hangover, feeling like Shrek, haziness, and overall being slower mentally, but hey, no regrets, cause my brain wasn't lying about those Twinkies, goddamn. The first high, a core memory, and whether you enjoyed it or not, doesn't really matter, cause for 95% of people, their first time literally shapes their entire opinion on the grass. Almost everybody who isn't age 50 or over and says, weed is the work of the devil, and should be more illegal than even meth. Well, actually it is. The za is Schedule 1 and meth is Schedule 2, so...
Yeah, that's right. That's why I love America. Greatest damn country in the world.
USA, USA, USA.
Anyway, what I was saying was that most people who tweak their first time are put off by it for a while and shape into za haters, and people who have fun their first time, believe it or not, don't all become mindless junkies who eat Little Caesars and watch SpongeBob all day. Rather, when asked their opinion on weed, they'll probably just say,
My stomach turned into an endless void with an unquenchable hunger for anything edible, which was followed by a sleepiness so uncontrollable I passed out halfway into my 25th Twinkie. It was pretty fun.
So obviously me, CBD bro, who runs an entire YouTube channel dedicated to the green plant, must have had the latter experience, right? Well, not really. As you see, when I was but a wee lad, uncontaminated by the forbidden fruits of the world like alcohol, nicotine, and yes, weed, always believed that alcohol makes you homeless, nicotine makes you a little bitch, and weed makes you lazy. Thinking that, I didn't want to waste not just my first high, but my very first time feeling anything besides normal on eating Doritos and watching Family Guy. Which, after turning 17, I decided it was about time I lost my substance virginity and planned to do so on Christmas dinner, where I was gonna let El Marijuana put its big, fat, thick, juicy, delicately rolled J in my mouth, but only after I had eaten, as I believed if my tummy was full, I wouldn't get the munchies and could instead contemplate the meaning of life my time high. And thankfully, I had an older brother who was more than willing to give me a puff or two from his Christmas dinner J for $4, the fucking cheapskate. So we went upstairs and started puffing, which Rezex was instantly bamboozled from the magic grass. Nice, it's not a dud. Now it's my turn. I grabbed the J and puffed until I could puff no more. And the result was, I didn't feel a damn thing. Still had to pay the $4 though. Fucking bullshit. Anyway, as we went through the day, I got increasingly more jealous of my brother, who by his words was fried AF. I was beginning to think maybe I'm immune to getting high, which after telling my brother this theory, he concluded that I'm stupid and just didn't inhale the za in my lungs, and so generously told me to follow him upstairs, where he gave me a couple more puffs for an extra $4, the damn venture capitalist. As I was smoking away, keeping in mind to inhale it all the way down to my lungs, I still wasn't feeling anything, and my hopes of getting fried AF were beginning to look more like a distant dream. When I finished puffing, I sat down at the computer to look at some of those watch while high videos, and my brother asked me, "So, you feel anything now?" No, I don't. What's this weird I'm not sure. I don't know, seems to me you're fried like some Kentucky chicken, boy. I was indeed fried, and incredibly so. Although I didn't smoke a ton, my body had never experienced anything besides a sugar rush and maybe a caffeine kick. So as I was watching this watch while you're high video, I was laughing at everything and was tripping the out. But not in a bad way, it was freaking amazing. Being high was what I always imagined it to be until... bloop. I'm sober again. Yeah, you heard right. My first high lasted like 30 seconds, and in an instant, I was back to normal, which I don't know why. Even to this day, when I tell people about this, nobody can relate because no one has experienced this phenomenon. But since I'm a scientist, I have developed a super duper concrete theory backed by quantum mechanics and the late great Stephen Hawking on my experience, and overall the reason why a lot of people who smoke their first time don't feel anything. I theorize that all humans have a natural block against foreign substances, a wall per se, and when an individual inhales za, the particles act kind of like micromissiles targeting your cannabinoid receptors. For the people whose defensive wall is strong enough, it will stop all perpetrators attempting to infiltrate your brain. But this wall isn't regeneratable, so if the micromissiles fail to get you fried at first, the next time they'll have an easier time against your already damaged wall of defense. Now, I bet you're thinking to yourself, this mofo been smoking too much of that Einstein pack. And to you, I say maybe, but also I have practical proof of this theory. I used to be a pro baller, and one day me and a couple hooper friends who all have great immune systems and therefore probably good za defensive walls decided to smoke up, and to my buddies, it was their first time. Once we lit the J and passed it around, I made sure to tell everybody to inhale the smoke in their lungs, which I'm pretty sure they all did, but still, I was the only one who got high, cause it wasn't my first time. But when I smoked up with some of my non-athlete first-timer friends, they all got high like normal. So, conclusion, defensive saw wall is a real thing and I stand by my theory. Anyway, although that was my first time feeling high, I wouldn't call it my first high because it only lasted for half a minute. My first real high experience was something even more memorable and etched to my brain until I die. A couple weeks after the last incident, me and Riz X decided it was about damn time I actually felt the true loving touch of the Mary Jane. And this time, instead of having only scraps of za, we bought a whole gram to hopefully destroy my highly speculative za wall. I think it's real. Also, at this time, we were obsessed with freestyle rapping, so we decided the plan of action was to smoke up, eat candy, and rap battle to copyright-free beats while recording it so we could listen to our unreleased tracks in the morning. Since our parents were away for the night, we got the whole apartment to ourselves and planned on rolling 2 J's, both containing 0.5 G's. But we had this old-ass plastic grinder, which as we were grinding, the teeth broke, so we had to use the good old scissors in a cup method, which this would have never happened if we had instead one of the metal CBD bro grinders. Since we were petrified at the thought of getting caught blazing, instead of being sensible and smoking the J's near a window and just blowing the smoke out, we put our jackets on and walked 500 feet away from the apartment to light up, just to be sure that there wouldn't even be a microfiber of evidence that we were smoking the devil's lettuce. As we were consuming the J, all I could hope for was that this time I wouldn't just get a limited free trial, but the actual full version. But alas, when we finished puffing the J, I again felt nothing, or at least that's what I thought, cause as we arrived back home, I finally realized that, so you feeling it?
Yeah, kinda.
Sometimes the high hits you a couple minutes later, especially if you're going from outdoors to indoors as we did. And my highly accepted theory in the science community about this phenomenon is that through evolution, we have always considered indoors to be our safe zone and outdoors dangerous. Therefore, when you're outside, your brain doesn't allow the full faded and relaxed effect to take over, probably in anticipation of a roadman coming and chefing you up with the mandem. Okay, this one I'm not so confident in, and I have to come clean. I am in no shape or form associated with the science community. Yet. Anyway, now that we were high and in the living room, we started putting on some beats and freestyling, and to this day, I have yet to replicate the skill and precision of my flow that high. It's hard to explain, but nowadays, I can't rap for shit. I mean, I'll spit one line and be like, yo, I've been getting money making racks, cause you know I'm flipping packs. That's facts. Yeah, that's it. Basically, I run out of rhymes pretty fast, but that day, I did not. In fact, even when my brain had nothing to say, my mouth rapped it for me. I turned into a freestyling robot and became dead sure that I was gonna make it out by dropping a mixtape and becoming a famous rapper. Until we listened to the recording in the morning and realized, yo, flowing on the go, your girl she a hoe, making money dancing with a pole, my girl making dough while doing lines of blow, cause we in the penthouse, baby, living life, and that's for show.
Yeah, I'll try YouTube instead.
Zaza addiction. A bit of a controversial topic, as there is a lot of brass NPCs who at the mere mention of the words weed and addiction get aggroed on some Oblivion guard shit and start defending the magic green plant like some 11th century crusaders. And to be honest, there is some merit to this, as it is true you can't get addicted to Zaza like nicotine for example, but that doesn't mean the Za is completely safe. But I thought I'd look at it at a bit of a different angle, cause from my experience, your relationship with the Mary Jane is truly a personal one. You can have a dude who smokes up 24/7 every day and because of it is a depressed mofo who doesn't get nothing done and just sits on his bed contemplating about why he is sad all the time. But then you can have a dude like Snoop Dogg who literally breathes THC instead of O2 yet has accomplished more with his life than most of us can ever dream of. For real though, dudes is just completing side quests at this point. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at different types of people and why they smoke the Za and how it affects them, starting with the faded subway worker. Now, this ain't the subway worker specifically. It can be anybody who has a job where they have discovered that being baked during it makes it a lot more bearable and fun. It's just that in my experience, the workers at Subway are usually always baked. At least that's what it seems like to me. To people like this, the Zaza has become less of a fun plant that you smoke when you have free time to instead the cup of coffee you have in the morning. And well, because people like this literally rely on the Za to get through the day, their relationship with it isn't usually very healthy. These also the types of dudes, if if you ever smoke up with will annihilate the whole spliff and then some, and after they'll be looking and acting the exact same way, like they ain't just smoke a Chief Keef sized fatty. A dude like this is usually stuck in a loop but wanting to be happy and maybe quit their job, but then as soon as they wake up and smoke a spliff, push their aspirations to the side for just one more day. But then they do it the next day, and the next day, and so on. So although dudes might not be physically addicted to the za, he is mentally, using it to forget about his problems for the day, kinda like an alcoholic or something. Then again, it might also be man just enjoys working while high, and after getting home doesn't even smoke anymore and just does what makes him happy. As I said, it's all about why you use the za to figure out if your relationship with it is healthy or not. Cause this next dude definitely doesn't use it to forget about his problems, and he is the creative dude or artist. I think one thing we can all agree on, whether you think the za is addictive or not, is that when you high, you tend to be more creative. Now, that doesn't mean that's automatically a good thing, cause a lot of times that creativity just means thinking about something very deeply and never actually taking it any further than that. For real though, sometimes I'll be smoking up and I'll be turned into a Greek philosopher, out here contemplating the very fabric of the universe. And if you're an artist of any sort and you can actually take these high thoughts and express them through something real, you can see where smoking up every day can become not such a bad thing. Obviously, your lungs will still feel the damage, but compared to the last dude on the list who on top of that suffers from a lack of motivation and low-key depression, this dude is not that bad off. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows either, as za laziness or zaziness is still a real problem. Although I'm not an artist and just make YouTube videos, I often do them while high, so I can confidently say sometimes when I get a great idea and try to bring it to reality and it doesn't turn out how I imagined it, I get kinda demotivated and just give up for a while. And when I'm not baked, I might not feel as confident and excited about my ideas, but regardless, I still finish them and do what I gotta do. But with the za, it can make me overanalyze things quite a bit, to the point I might think myself out of a solid thought or plan. But I'm guessing not everyone has this debuff, cause I mean, you look at a mofo like Snoop Dogg and it'll get you second guessing if smoking grass is the key to success. It's probably not. Really, nigga? Anyway, next dude on the list who smokes every day and is low-key addicted is the grass NPC. This guy is, in my opinion, the worst type of Zaza addict, because in this dude's head, no matter how much grass you consume and however much it affects your daily life, it doesn't matter, because, well, the Zaza isn't addictive. The grass NPC also made an appearance on my The Worst Types of Grass Smokers video, because of his blatant ignorance and constant defensiveness towards the magic green plant. If you ever talk to this guy, you better be super careful about bringing up any negative towards the za, because this dude will argue his life away defending his one and only love, the Mary Jane. Even though it always makes me happy when famous celebrities or athletes like Kevin Durant, for example, talk about the grass and how it has had a positive impact on their life, because it shows that just because you like getting high doesn't automatically mean you're a lazy good-for-nothing stoner. But if the lazy stoner is the one trying to preach the gospel of the Mary Jane, then who in their right mind is gonna be like, yeah, this guy's spitting straight facts. He really got his shit together. Point being, if you smoke up 24/7 and have a low-key za addiction, own up to it and admit you got a bit of a problem instead of trying to justify your dependency on some Bro, that's like your 5th spliff. You sure that's a good idea?
What you mean? This shit all organic. It ain't even bad for you, bro.
I mean, smoking anything is bad, especially if you're doing it 24/7.
Nah, bro, za ain't even a drug. You really should do your research. Here, I sent you an article about the positives of smoking grass.
Okay.
What's this? What you sent me?
It's just some research talking about all the negatives of smoking grass.
Sorry, I can't hear you. This gas is too loud.
My man doesn't wanna hear it, which is really bad, cause being ignorant to the negative side effects of the za can lead to way too much consumption, which can evolve to a dependency on it just to live your everyday life. For real though, if you don't ever give your body time to filter out that grass from your system, it's gonna get used to it always being there, which will lead you to experiencing things like loss of appetite, low mood, low energy, etc. when off the za. So especially to all my younger viewers, don't think of the grass as some magical perfect substance. There are consequences consequences to using it, just like everything else in the world. Sometimes even when I have one mega smoke sesh, I'll feel the after effects in the morning, like a za hangover. It's all about moderation and using the za to enhance your life and the experiences you have, not relying on it for them. I've also said this in one of my previous videos, but I think it fits well here too. It's not about how high you were, it's about where you were high. So yeah, always try to keep that in mind. But before I skedaddle, I wanted to let y'all know that CBD Bro is now officially on Instagram, so make sure you go follow it to see all the daily adventures and shenanigans that happen. I'm also gonna post some actual dope content on there, not just PNG cutouts of Stickman, specifically about my trip to Zazaland City. So if you wanna see CBD Bro on some worldwide adventures, check out the IG and see you there. Edibles, part of the holy trinity when it comes to getting as faded as humanly possible. And the reason they are so potent is that in the act of cooking the za, the THC transforms into something beyond its normal powers and becomes Super Saiyan za, or 11-hydroxy-THC. But let's stick to Super Saiyan cause that other name isn't really cool. Anyway, if you're an OG subscriber, you know my first time doing edibles was quite a crazy experience, but I wouldn't call it anything else than, yeah, I was really freaking high. But this time, the abominations we made were no mere first-timer dose. We threw everything we had in there. The day started like any other, except I had just gotten back from Barcelona the previous night and was a bit tired. But you see, there was this really cool movie in the cinema called Oppenheimer. Anyway, me and Rizix had planned to watch Oppenheimer in the cinema sometime before August, but being us, we obviously wanted to be baked during this time, and well, the movie was 3 hours long, so just a quick hit wasn't gonna cut it. So we decided on something we hadn't done in years, that obviously being edibles. The only problem was, we don't know how to manage time, and well, once we started actually making the things, the movie had already begun. But although I do love Cillian Murphy, let's be honest, the main part of this journey was the edibles, not Oppenheimer. So we were like, screw it, we only gonna miss like the first 30 minutes. Which, if we had actually read some reviews on the movie, we would have known it's not something you go to 30 minutes late while bugging up the Zaza and the world's strongest edible. Yeah, we also, just for safe measures, smoked a bit before too. But anyway, once we made our abominations and the whole house was smelling like Snoop Dogg's beard, we sat down to eat these deep fried to get you deeply fried cookies. Ready? Ready. Bruh, they're so dry, man. Yeah, so they were awful in the taste department, but in the how messed up they gonna get you apartment, well, you'll find out soon enough. As I said earlier, just for safety, in case they were duds, we also smoked up a bit before, and we're feeling like medium-sized, cooled on the kitchen counter pizza rolls, even before the cookies hit. As we arrived in the cinema, we were, well, a little bit scared, but also excited to find out what these monstrous things were going to do to us, because, well, we hadn't done edibles in ages, and knew our tolerance towards them was zero. After buying popcorn and a medium drink, we walked in the cinema, took our seats, and sat down to watch the movie, which had been going on for 40 minutes at that point, but we thought we could still enjoy it, and we did until... Bro, I could not stop laughing, and that's when I knew the edibles had hit. Now, up until this point, I considered myself a man of pure willpower and mental fortitude, and that there's no way some green plant was gonna get me bugging. And for the first 30 minutes after feeling them hit, it was true, until I got the ultimate disability the za can curse you with. I'm talking, of course, about manual breathing. I was sat in that cinema like a full-on tweaker, and bro, it did not feel good. Like, however hard I tried to destroy the Super Saiyan Saw with my mind, I just couldn't. And Rizix was low-key tweaking too. Plus the movie, well, it was kinda shit. And before you roast me in the comments, I think Oppenheimer is a great movie. Just arriving 40 minutes late and bugging off Super Saiyan Za wasn't the best idea for a story-focused film. So we decided to get the fuck out of there. And bro, I don't even know how to describe what I felt and saw once we opened the gates to the outside world. Bro, I was feeling like my senses were turned up to 10,000% overdrive. And bruh, I'ma be honest, I was not seeing
seeing straight. So although we drove to the cinema, we were in no shape to drive back, so we just started paddling our demon eyes looking butts home. Until at some point, we found some e-scooters, so we rented those and just started blasting away. And what an amazing time that was. Like, every switch of scenery felt like a brand new biome. Like, at some point, we took a little detour through a park, and bro, we felt like we was in a damn jungle. Like, even the slight rumble and turbulence we got from the road made it feel like we were true explorers on not e-scooters, but one of those safari exploring buggies riding through unexplored wildland. But anyway, once we got back home, I decided to look in the mirror to see if I looked as high as I felt. And well, I looked more high. Like, I didn't even know your eyes can get that red. But there they were, looking like the eyes of the damn devil himself. Speaking of getting high AF, we doing a smoke sesh on the Discord on Sunday, where it's mine and your job to get absolutely bedazzled and just chill the fuck out. Anyway, link for the disc will be in the pinned comment, so make sure you join and pull up on the sesh. Anyway, back to me looking in the mirror. As I looked in the mirror and saw nothing but an empty vessel wandering the wrong plane of existence staring back, I got a bit frightened, cause man, I swear, my reflection was not moving in sync with me yet again. But this time, it was even worse, cause I was like 4 times higher than I was when I first did edibles. So what happened next, you might be wondering? I was bugging out, looking like an uncooked steak, and I couldn't focus on anything longer than 1 second. Well, I went to sleep. Cause one good thing I will say about the trip, the comfortability I felt in my bed was unlike anything I've ever felt before. My blanket was just a perfect temperature, my mattress the perfect fit, and my pillow the perfect place to lay your head. And because of that, and I'm not exaggerating on this, the very second I closed my eyes, I was asleep. Well, not like deep sleep, but nap sleep. Anyway, after closing my eyes, in about 3 minutes, I was completely knocked out. And well, I slept so much like a baby, I actually believe the zaza manipulated my very core and reverted my cells and body shape to that of when I was 3 months old, to enable me to get the full experience of sleeping like a baby. Only problem was though, as I woke up like literally 10 hours later, I was still high AF. Not like can't see straight high, but like just hit the BONG high. To be honest, I was just amazed, cause I knew if we had smoked that amount of za we put in the cookies, we might have been really lit, but nothing like we were from the cookies. And after that day, I have now learned my lesson that actual strong edibles are more comparable to mushrooms than normal bud. Vaping versus smoking. Both activities extremely similar to the naked eye, yet in reality, these lung-destroying practices are quite different. The same way smoking za used to be a very niche thing, mostly done by hippies in the 1960s to 1970s, so was vaping in the 2000s to early 2010s. Yet both smoking and vaping slowly but surely took over the world, to where nowadays you'll be walking down the street and see a dude puffing on a strawberry ice guacamole stick on one side, and on the other see a bunch of college kids sitting on a bench eye squinting like they got hit with a flashbang, holding the Teenage Mutant Ninja card screaming, "Blinker!" And although a lot of times a vapor can also be a smoker and the other way around, I'm here to try and figure out which one of these practices is definitively superior to the other. So you can once and for all say to the opposing faction, at least I don't vape, or at least I don't smoke. So let's get started with the first category, and that is the effect. This is probably the most important category, because if you're going to damage your lungs and throat by inhaling a foreign substance, it better be at least a fun time. Which I think we can all agree, this is where smoking and vaping are completely different. With vaping, the high you get, if you can even call it that, is a buzz in your body, lightheadedness, bit of an increase to your social battery, and of course a small dopamine boost. But here's the kicker, you only feel this effect like the first couple times you do it, and later mostly only in the morning on your first puffs. So the action of vaping just kind of becomes a mindless habit where you're doing it not for the effect, but just because your body is telling you,
"Hey, it's been like 30 minutes. You should really go and rip that 99 Nick strawberry mango punch."
Whereas the high you get from the grass is actually what you're inhaling it for, and although the effects vary from person to person, they usually consist of better mood, increased appetite aka the munchies, laughter, the increased significance of your thoughts, creativity, laziness, sleepiness, etc. But also, these effects are felt for much longer, of about 2 to 4 hours, compared to vaping, which is literally like 10 seconds. So if you look at it straight up, then smoking absolutely takes this category with ease. But then again, for people who are prone to getting paranoid and need everything planned out, the high from the za isn't guaranteed to be enjoyable, cause I mean, you can just green the fuck out. Whereas with vaping, you can't really get a bad trip, cause I mean, there is no trip. You're just sitting puffing on your mango stick doing whatever you're doing. But all in all, I'ma still go with the za on this one. So 1 to 0, smoking. Now let's look at the cost. Whether you want to inhale Chinese sweatshop chemicals that taste like strawberries or the devil's lettuce, it's gonna cost you. But the question is, which one is more expensive at every level of consumption? Well, let's look at it. Level 1 for vapors would be you just buy a dispo every week or so, which comes out to about $20 to $40 a month. And level 1 for smokers, I'd say it's about the same if you just blaze up on the weekends. So far, they're tight on cost, but now if you move up to level 2, which I think for vaping, it now indicates you're addicted and spending anywhere between $80 to $100 on dispos a month. For the za, level 2 would be smoking up once or twice every night at the end of your day, which although you're technically smoking every day, I don't think you'll be spending more than $100 a month. So it looks like smoking is edging it out. Well, that's until the next level, where most vapors probably buy themselves a box mod, which is the equivalent of buying a car instead of taking a taxi everywhere. And on the other end, here's where smoking za can get a bit more expensive. At level 3, you blazing 24/7, and you're high not just at the nighttime when you're done with your day, but also when you're going through your day. And because of that, your tolerance has gone up a lot, to the point you having to spend over $200 a month just to continue your za smoking, which don't let it get that far. Please, it's really not worth it. And at level 3 vaping, because you can just get a box mod eco nic machine, your cost ain't really go up that much. Shit, it might have even gone down. So basically, at the higher echelon of being a nic fiend, it's much cheaper than being a 24/7 high stoner, which would mean vaping wins, right? Well, technically yeah, but to be honest, is it really a good thing you can puff on your lung cancer strawberry ice machine for so cheap? I don't think so, and honestly, I'm kinda happy about how if you smoke up 24/7, your tolerance will evolve to a point you have to drop a bag every month just to keep up with your dependency. That being said, I'ma have to leave it at a tie here. 2-1 smoking grass. Now it's time for addictiveness. I think this one's a no-brainer. Nicotine is obviously more addictive, right? Well, yeah, but there are some more aspects to this comparison, like the fact even if you're completely addicted to nic, you can go about your everyday life just the same, cause it doesn't make you slower mentally, nor lazy, nor paranoid. It's just slowly but surely giving you lung cancer. But with za, if you really start abusing that shit, it'll affect your everyday life, cause it can lower motivation, make you less driven, slower mentally, and hazy. But all of that is only if you let yourself get that far, which is much harder than with nic. Cause the za is just less addictive than the mango stick, meaning with vaping it can literally take just one puff to get you hooked, but with the za it's more like an experience. So although you might have a great time your first high, you won't be in the school bathrooms the next day like,
Yo, you think you can give me a couple puffs off that? Haven't did anything in hours. Really? Give me that!
okay, it's not that bad, but be wary. Nicotine fiends, they'll do anything for a puff off that elf bar. For real. Anyway, this point goes to the grass yet again because of its much less addictive nature. 3-1 smoking. But maybe this next category will ignite a comeback for vaping. Availability. Nic sticks are sold everywhere, from gas stations to smoke shops to shit, some grocery stores. And on the other hand, the zaza, if you're in the United States, where let's be honest, you probably are, you can get them at dispensaries or your local Pablo Escobar, the plug. Which unfortunately, dispensaries are more of a luxury that only legal state citizens in the US are afforded, and for the rest of us, we have to deal with the lawless, sometimes sleazy creatures called plugs. I mean for real, why the fuck fuck do I, a law-abiding citizen, have to deal with criminals on a weekly basis just because I wanna relax and eat some double-stuffed Oreos on a Friday night? But if I wanna get shit-faced drunk and go outside with the homies committing 3 counts of disrupting the peace, 4 counts of destruction of public property, and 58 counts of...
Yo, what's that guy looking at? He got a problem?
Then that's totally fine. So I think we can all agree vaping takes this one. Free too. Now time for a category which will either tie it up or secure the major Tate W for smoking. And that is the community. Vape Nation versus yeah man. Or at least that's the stereotype. In reality, it ain't really like that. Although from my experience, vapors are more extroverted because they're always vaping in a circle in the damn bathroom, chit-chatting about their flavors. And smokers are more introverted and chill, who would rather sit down and play some modded Minecraft with the homies than go to the club. Oh, and if you're looking for a place where you can find more people like that, then why not join the CBD Bro Discord? We also just hit 5k members, so join the revolution, the weed revolution. Anyway, this could be biased because I'm a smoker myself, but I personally think the Zaza community is better than the vaping. Although I really don't like grass NPCs who make the Za their whole personality, these dudes are pretty easily spottable and avoidable. But I mean, vapors got the same thing. Imagine standing in a circle, everybody puffing on their dispo, and then some dude pulls out the Vaporizer Ultra 3000i Max, fully equipped with 8 flavors, a touchscreen, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth capability. I think the exact same thing that I do with grass NPCs. That's a bit too much, man. Anyway, 4-2. Smoking wins. But hey, that might just be mine, CBD Bro's opinion. So comment down which of these health deteriorating activities you prefer. And see ya in the next one. Running out of za. Man, I swear, this phenomenon is always so unexpected. Like, I don't know why, but for some reason, however long I plan ahead and try to time my grass running out, it always comes kicking in like the damn Kool-Aid man. I'll be out here the night before looking at the bottom of my grinder like,
Okay, I guess I gotta buy some more tomorrow.
and then when the next day comes, I'll be all flabbergasted like, oh boy, nothing better than some good old za at the end of the
Day.
What? This can't be. How have I ran out of za? I literally just had some
Yeah,
And now that you realize that you out of grass, you got 3 options. You either accept your fate and just go on with your night, hit up your plug, and get ready to lose out on your hard-earned money, or the legendary special down bad method I often do, empty out all your grinders, search through all your pockets, and scrape together one last hit so you can delay the buying of the za for one more day. But although I do this quite often, I don't recommend it, cause I swear, those scrape together hits are always some 20% plastic, 20% dust, 20% dirt smack dabbly doos. So every time I do hit that awful abomination of a bowl, it'll have me all paranoid about what the f did I just smoke like? Man, why that smell like burning plastic? Why am I not even high? Bro, why am I so lightheaded? Mom, I think I'm dying. So basically what I'm saying is, scraping together hits from basically nothing isn't really the healthiest move you can make. But shit, hitting up the plug at the end of the day is a struggle in its own right. Cause I don't know why these damn plugs are always unavailable when you need them the most. Like Mr. Invisible could be spamming me all day with Snapchats like... But then later, when you hit man's up asking for some za, he disappears like the Avatar. Doesn't even open your messages. These plugs really don't care about us for real, man. Speaking of which, that reminds me of this one time when we ran out and had to travel through the whole of the ghetto version of Narnia just to get some za. It was just a normal day, well, night, where me, Salamander, and Ricky had planned to smoke some grass and just chill. And of course, Salamander, being the ultra reliable photographic memory dude he is, informed us that he def has enough grass for us all to enjoy at his place. So me and Ricky pull up, excited as you can be, only to arrive at the house and be informed, yo, what's good? Are you ready to get absolutely schmacked? She, of course, Phil, but what? Yeah, I just checked my room and, well, it turns out I don't have any grass. What do you mean you have no grass? You said you had a ton, bro. Yeah, I mean I did, but I kind of smoked it all. Man, what the? Why you gotta do us like that, bro? You got us all hyped for this, and now we're here in your mansion and you're telling us there's no grass? Like bro, I'm finna cry for real, man.
Yeah, bro, you're right. I'm sorry. I messed up. But don't worry. I already hit up Jimmy the plug god. We can drive there now.
Okay, sure. Let's go.
So we go into Salamander's parents' car, which was sleek AF, and quite literally went to the bad part of town with it, feeling like some mafia bosses, for real. But once we arrived at Jimmy the Plug God's house, he was nowhere to be seen, and well, turns out, dude hadn't even texted Salamander back. He just had us come here in hopes that the time we arrived, he would. As we were sitting in the car, waiting for a good 15 minutes at that point, Salamander tells us the dude probably isn't gonna respond, but he already wrote another plug and he def gonna hook us up. So we drive to a new place where this time the plug was actually waiting for us, so we hopped out the car and walked towards him. Yo, what's good, bruh?
Yo, what's up?
So, do you got that zaza?
Of course, yeah. Here it is.
Bro, is that 2 G's like I asked?
Yeah, it's just compact, you know, like a dime.
Bro, fuck off. If that's 2 G's, then prove it. What are you waiting for? Put it on the scale.
Nah, bro, I don't sell to people who don't trust me. Disrespectful AF.
Nah, bruh, disrespectful is trying to show the long-term customer in his hour of need. Keep your diamond to yourself, big dog. We outta here.
Yeah, whatever. See.
As our hopes were dwindling, we were in Salamander's car about to call it quits when the only plug that was exclusive to me and nobody else knew of finally responded to my message saying to meet up and that he got the za. So we go to yet another location in hopes that finally we would get our now well-deserved bag of grass. And once we arrived at the meetup spot, which was a pizza restaurant by the way, we parked the car and text Mr. Invisible that we're outside waiting for him. A good 10 minutes goes by with no response, so the overall mood is starting to get pretty gloomy, as we quite literally have just driven around for hours trying to secure just a smidgen of za. And although we were truly experiencing a Gen Z 21st century Great Depression, we were saved with the text,
Oh, he responded.
"Oh snap."
What'd he say, bro?
He said, yeah, coming out now.
Nice.
And this time, he actually did. Dudes came out with an apron, chef's hat, and the long-awaited bag. So we went there, and thankfully, it was actually 2 G's, not a diamond. And man, I ain't never been so glad for just a smidgen of za in my life, but can you blame me? I mean, this was a full-on journey, and although the time was like 11 PM at this point, we weren't too discouraged as we thought, screw it, let's pull an all-nighter, baby. So finally, after hours of waiting and talking to incompetent plugs, we arrived back at the mansion and did what we came there to do. Smoke a shit ton of grass, eat an unholy amount of munch, and wake up the next day feeling more hazy than a foggy morning. Which the highlight of the night was definitely when Salamander said he was gonna bake some magic cookies, but since we were already f***ed AF, dudes left them in the oven for like 3 hours. And then finally, when we had that "oh shit, the cookies" moment, we went there and found them completely burnt. But, you know, we still ate them, and well, they kinda worked, I think. I don't know. We were so blasted, we probably could've eaten some damn Oreos and thought ourselves more high because of it. So, all in all, running out of za is, for some reason, always so unexpected. But I've learned to enjoy the journey as much as the destination, and although at the time, driving around searching for was annoying AF, looking back at it, it was actually pretty fun. And the night was definitely more memorable because of it. But before I go, make sure you join the Discord and follow CBD Bro on Instagram for some banger content. Oh, and also make sure to check out the CBD Bro BONG, as I think it's dope AF. Anyway, until next time, peace. Wake and bake. One who does not understand the true implications of this act may find himself overwhelmed by its powers. Yet this holy practice has a special place in every stoner's heart, for it can only be truly enjoyed if one forfeits his entire life energy and hopes to receive the blessing of the za gods. For if one does not concede to the za, I will be consumed by it. I have witnessed one too many proud, ignorant soldiers underestimate the wake and bake and end up overwhelmed by its mighty force. But if you're confused by my holy transcript, I'll put it in terms you might understand better. It's not a wake and bake if you don't fucking wake up. Dudes be out here talking about, ooh, I love waking and baking. It makes my whole day so much less stressful. Yeah, of course it does, you dinglebob, if all you do after is watch TikTok, order Uber Eats, fill your belly to the brim, and take a 3-hour nap. But some folks still disrespect the holy practice by literally doing nothing with the extravagant mega high of the wake and bake. And yes, no matter what science says, I'm here to tell you getting high as soon as you wake up is a lot stronger and different than getting high, let's say, in the evening. And my theory is that right after waking up, your body and brain are not functioning at full capacity yet and are weak against foreign substance attacks like THC. So when you inhale that beautiful Mary Jane right after waking up, your body's defense systems are down, leading to more of the THC slipping through to your brain, therefore getting suited as fuck. And since the zaza ain't nothing but an amplifier of your senses, feelings, and thoughts, since waking up is hard to begin with, cause I don't know about you, but I personally gotta recite every damn inspirational Rocky Balboa quote to muster up the strength to get up in the morning. If you're high, that shit is like 10 times harder. And that's proven by most of these mofos who claim they like waking and baking. Dudes get high and just stare at the wall and watch the day go by. Like there really are levels to this shit. And since your boy waked and baked every single day for a whole summer, I have gone through all of them and am qualified to tell you it starts at level 1. The couch potato. This is the state you're probably gonna be in for the first couple times you get high right in the morning. And it ain't nothing to be ashamed of because those first times are like a learning experience. Once the baking is planned, when you go to sleep, it'll have you all excited like, oh boy, can't wait to get high as soon as I wake up and go on an adventure. But when the time comes and you smoke that exotic, you soon realize that this shit hits different. Not only are you baked out of your mind, you also feel like your eyelids have 10-pound weights on them. But even so, you will try your best to go on that high adventure you have been hyping up. But unfortunately, the most you can do is gather the strength to go to the kitchen and make a sandwich. Which after, you'll probably take that right back to your room, put on some Netflix or some, watch it for a couple minutes and realize, I'm not leaving this bed anytime soon, am I? And boom, you either fall asleep or lie in your bed watching Netflix like the potato you are for the whole high. But if you're like me and don't accept that as a successful and fun wake and bake, you'll do it again some other day, and this time you're better educated on the powers of the morning za, which will lead you to level 2. I will persevere. This time, you know what to expect and have mentally prepared for the tiredness and overall lack of motivation to do stuff by the wake and bake. So just like before, you decide to try the holy practice, but this time decide to brush your teeth and maybe take a shower before the bake. Just cause you know one of the hardest parts about getting up in the morning is the fact you can't just stand up and start your day. You gotta do your morning routine first. Anyway, now that you've completed the wake and bake and were smart enough to do a bit of your morning routine first, the 10-pound weights that were attached to your eyelids previously have now lightened up to about 4-pound weights. And although every fiber of your being is still telling you to go lie down, you fight through and attempt to start your day with something lightly productive, like going to the store or cleaning your room. And if you do end up going to the store like I did, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's a trap. Cause you will most likely find yourself admiring every food item your eyeballs gaze upon, and we all know when the munchies hit, well, you either rise to the occasion or you have a bad trip. Hey, I'm sorry, I don't make the rules, I just follow them. So you go back home, do your best impression of Nicocado Avocado, and find yourself watching YouTube or Netflix on your wretched bed again. Good try, but not quite the wake and bake epic adventure you were hoping for. But this time, you swear on your mama. Well, better not do that, but anyway, you swear that next time you will have an awesome wake and bake, which will lead you to level 3.
It's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
You've had enough of this BS. You're done folding to the power of the za and being that 1990s generic movie stoner who smokes grass, plays video games, and eats Doritos all day. So now, you do what you did previously, but instead of going to your local Wonderland 7-Eleven, you instead go to the gym or just do something productive that doesn't involve binge watching the new One Piece Netflix series. But this level is in reality quite subjective. It all depends on what your idea of a successful successful wake and bake is. For me, I'm happy with my wake and bake if after the high dissipates and reality starts to shape back in, I don't feel all hazy and sad from the fact that I did a wake and bake. This also means sometimes it's okay to hit that Mary Jane immediately after waking and just playing video games the entire time. If you plan a day like that ahead and enter the morning with no desire to do anything but lay on your couch and eat 50% off birthday cakes you got from the discount aisle at Walmart, then that's fine. One of my funnest and favorite high memories came from a wake and bake with Riz X, where immediately after waking we spontaneously decided to get faded, and after that we were a bit bored, so we decided to look at how much money we had in our bank balance, and well, things weren't looking too good, but we were able to scrape together $200 and went on Facebook Marketplace to search for fun items for the high mind. And oh boy, we sure did strike gold, because we found this guy selling an Xbox Series S with 2 controllers close to our area, so we pulled up, acquired the box, found a free trial for Xbox Game Pass, and played a bunch of split-screen games and ate McNuggets all goddamn day, which in my book has got to be a successful wake and bake, but it would have been an awful one if we hadn't planned ahead and occupied the day schedule with only 2 things in mind: smoke grass and have fun. But one thing I will say about the holy practice known as the wake and bake is that it's best enjoyed as a special occasion, and that's because them shits absolutely demolish your tolerance, and I speak from experience. We went from a bag lasting 1 week to 1 day and 3 days of waking and baking. Like, I don't know exactly why, but that shit sure isn't sustainable financially nor productivity wise. It also has to do with the fact when you wake and bake, you usually smoke throughout the whole day, but when you smoke up after a long and productive day of grinding, you only do so once or twice before you get tired and go to bed, giving your body ample time to recover from the THC. Think about it like this: if you wake and bake and then smoke throughout the day, that ganja is constantly building up, so your body never really has time to digest that THC through your system. But if you smoke only every 24 hours or so, you're giving your body time to recover and remove the zaza from your brain, making it so you don't have to smoke a whole spliff just to feel a little bit high. But shit, I'm not a scientist, so all this stuff might be BS, but I don't know, it kinda makes sense, doesn't it? Ever wonder why some dudes can inhale that freshly cut grass an unholy amount of times with eyes so red you think dude is bleeding internally on some exorcist shit, but when asked, "How you feeling, bro?" they'll respond with something like, or, "Honestly, could go for one more J." Well, the reason for a response like that is due to their grass smoker power, which, contrary to popular belief, isn't all about tolerance. Although that can be an important factor, it isn't everything. So Randy, who's 30 years old and has been on a tea break for 2 years now, but has been consistently inhaling that grass for the entirety of his adult life, will be much less likely to freak out over some stupid shit than, for example, Jimmy here, who's been getting high for 2 months straight every day and claims himself a zaza god. The reason for that is, Jimmy, although his tolerance is almost maxed out, still can't handle the fade in a situation even remotely out of his comfort zone. All that being said, we all start off on level 1.
Bro, I think it was laced.
Level 1, the good old times where the zaza was still mysterious and scary. This is the level you're at if you've inhaled that magic spice only a couple times, and only so in the safest, securest, and good vibey situations possible. And honestly, while at this level, you couldn't even imagine doing anything besides eating Doritos and scrolling YouTube shorts whilst blasted, cause you just haven't gotten used to the feeling the green bestows upon you. That being the increase in significance of every thought and action, and because you don't know how to control it, your experiences with weed are mostly in your own head. So when you high, you can't focus on shit. Like really, the only thing that seems to catch your attention for more than 10 seconds is that sweet, sweet flavor on those Sour Patch Kids that you never knew could explode in your mouth like that. Now, depending on if you getting blasted solo or with friends will determine your speed of leveling, cause usually if you with friends, you get used to the za more quickly because you're socializing. Plus, you know, there's always that one guy in the group that likes to mess with the newbies by getting them as high as possible and then being like, "Hey guys, let's go to the gas station." Which might seem whatever, but if it's your first time, you might just have a damn panic attack at that 7-Eleven, cause I swear, everybody is looking at you, and the cashier, he's onto you. Yeah, fuck that guy. Anyway, if you keep on eating grass, you'll move on to level 2. I am the Zaza God. Remember Jimmy, the self-proclaimed Zaza God? Yeah, well, he ain't quite the Zaza God he believes himself to be. To be honest, he barely a za foot soldier. Cause it's all good and fine if he gets blasted up to Mars in the comfort of his own home, but take that comfort away and you'll most likely find him walking behind the group on his own looking like a lost puppy. And the reason for that is, my man's thought that he's been high so many times he can be high anywhere, which sadly isn't the case. Think of tolerance as the size of your dick. It can be massive, destructive in nature, and uncontrollably powerful. But what does that matter if all you use it for is to jerk off? Same with tolerance, it's situational, so you can be unfazed by the zaza in the comfort of your own home, but as soon as that comfort is taken away, you a total noob again. Instead of focusing on the size of his T, Jimmy should have been focusing on upping his riz and going out and pulling some quality baddies, if you get what I mean. I'd say going from this level to the next is one of the biggest steps in between levels, cause to confidently say you a za god, you should be able to keep your cool in most public situations, even if everybody is staring at you and every car with a hint of blue is a FBI agent ready to take you away for good. You gotta be chill, like a cucumber. And if you do study the cucumber enough while spugging off the broccoli, you might just advance to level 3, Transformer Optimus Prime. This level is called Transformer because it's the level where your Zaza adventures completely transform. Instead of only smoking up at the comfort of you or your friend's home, you can now make plans in somewhat chill public areas like fast food places, cinemas, the park, the spa, or really anywhere where you know people will most likely be minding their own business. And because of this newfound power, you probably have also started blazing that green more, which depending on the type of person you are, it could start affecting your everyday tasks and goals negatively because although hard to admit, the Zaza can and will make you a lazy mofo if you let it. But as I said, it all depends on the shape of your character, so if you can control the inherent laziness the Za tries to curse you with and still keep on rolling with your goals without becoming a Dorito munching World of Warcraft playing stay-at-home hobgoblin, at some point you'll move on to level 4. Yeah, to be honest, I'm high right now. Welcome to the ultimate purgatory and struggle of a consistent Za enjoyer. As I said before, you only advance to this level if you didn't become a Star Wars lore arguing Prime Dumbledore admiring League of Legends playing high stay-at-home goblin. Wait, why are you Star Wars lore all the time? And I love Dumbledore. Ah, well, at least I don't play League of Legends. Anyway, as I was saying, it's quite hard to make it to this level, and even harder to stay here, because nowadays, you are so used to doing stuff while splasted, you could theoretically be in that state 24/7. But the problem is, you also know being high 24/7 is expensive, plus, even if you don't notice, I'd say for 95% of people, it makes them less productive as well. So that's why I call it purgatory, because you're constantly pondering the question, should I maybe do a quick hit before doing this? And although I'd love to say I have the answer to that question, I don't. It all depends on you and your situation. So for example, if I had a job interview, I wouldn't do a quick hit. But then again, I know dudes who say the Za makes them less nervous and stressed, plus more talkative. So for those people, I'd have to say, go ahead I guess. But if one day you find a definitive answer to the question, should I maybe do a quick rip before this? You'll move on to the final and most elusive level there is. Level 5. Za God. You have entered into your own subconscious and from it dug out answers to humanity's biggest questions like, are we alone? Why are we here? Why is an 80-year-old man running for president again? And of course, should I bang that Benjamin a little bit before heading out? And I am sorry to inform you guys that I do not know much of this level because I have yet to make it this far myself, and I still have no idea why Joe Biden is running for president again. But I can tell you this much. This is the level that completely transcends tolerance, as you really don't even need to worry about that anymore, cause you know your body to the point you always know what amount is the right amount. Also, you have figured out the perfect formula for working hard and following your dreams, whilst also inhaling that za and being a chill and interesting dude. The 5 levels of being high. Now, I bet you've seen a couple videos on this topic, maybe even mine, but since almost a year has passed and my knowledge and understanding of the magic green plant has grown tremendously, I thought it's about time to make the ultimate, definitive, most precise levels of high tier list on planet Earth. And to make it even more fun, for every level, I'ma be getting more high to give an accurate representation of what the level feels and sounds like. So let's get it started with Level 1.
Microdosed. This is the level where you don't really feel anything per se, but you can tell something is different. You have a slight mood boost and your body might feel a bit more elevated. So like if your legs were sore, they'd probably be more sore now, but if you're lying on your bed, well, its comfortability is probably up about by 10 to 15%. Nothing crazy, but it is noticeable. This, however, isn't enough to give you the giggles, so that Amy Schumer comedy special will still leave you wondering if my vagina is actually comedy or just poorly done slapstick humor. And since I'm currently at this level, I can tell you it also has no negative side effects, so I can still do everything without worrying if I'm too high. Anyway, let's move on to the first exciting level, and that is level 2. I'm feeling it. So you're feeling it, eh? Well, me too. This is the level where that Amy Schumer special might actually forcefully steal a giggle or two from you, but not because it's actually funny, it's more like you're laughing at her rather than with her. Anyway, since you're now feeling it, you also might be feeling that movie a bit more, or that video game. Shit, you might be feeling your own jokes a bit more. Got you laughing at your own thoughts, fool. This is also the optimal high if you still got stuff to do. Well, to be honest, if you got stuff to do, probably better to not be high, but at this level, it's still definitely doable, just a bit more difficult. Another way to look at it is, this is the high the workers at Subway are usually on. Although I have seen mofos way beyond this there too, but for the most part, this is optimal cause the loud hasn't got you moving slow-mo quite yet. As for me, I'm still able to read this script and pronounce my words just fine, so you probably can't even tell I'm high right now. But now it's time to get to the first level where a mofo can feel too high if he's not experienced. Level 3. Yeah, I'm pretty high. So here we are, pretty high. This is the point where, at least for me, doing anything besides leisurely activities is hard. Not impossible, nor undoable, but hard. If we take that Amy Schumer comedy special for reference again, as for some reason I like doing, it might just maybe have become funny, but you also realize you just high, so you turn it off and watch something else. Also, this is the first level where some thoughts might have become uncontrollable in the senses you just can't help but dive deeper into the fact that the bomb dropped on Hiroshima was almost 1,600 times less powerful than the Tsar bomb created and detonated by the Soviets in 1961 as a show of power to the US. But then you find out there's something called an antimatter bomb which could be even more destructive, but it's only a theory, but then maybe the US is developing it in Area 51 or something. Yeah, I think you get the point. But there is one sensation that is more powerful than your random thoughts, and that of course is the munchies. Coupled with the fact you're probably rocking some dry mouth right now, this in my opinion is the best level to be at if you're trying to stuff your face with enough trans fats to feed 50 hungry children. But you know, you already ate it also. Anyway, moving on to level 4. Faded beyond belief. This is the point where if you're not in a safe space, you kinda screwed. Well, not always, but at this level, it's become almost impossible to practice rational thinking. I mean, if you were diving deeper into that nuclear bomb stuff at the previous level, then this is a point where you might start actually believing you are Oppenheimer himself. This stage is really not the best if you're looking to focus on a movie or video game or really anything because, well, your attention span is at the mercy of the za, and to actually enjoy this high, you just gotta go with the flow. As for me, it's getting pretty hard to read the script. If I look at the words for long enough, they kinda look like some ancient Chinese hieroglyphs. But anyway, if you're an actual lunatic, maniac, psychopath, Zaza destroyer, and considering hitting that gravity one more time, then be prepared for level 5. Shadow Realm. I told you, bro, you gotta be a maniac to get to this level because the plane of existence you on now is so different from being non-high, you probably feeling and looking like a goddamn alien. I mean, bro, your eyes are so red and you feel so disconnected from your body that if you look in the mirror, you'll probably think, bro, is that really me? I'm so fucked up. Wait. Ah, shit, I'm in the Shadow Realm again, aren't I? And now that you realize you're in the Shadow Realm, you either stop the trip by going to sleep or level unknown, exploring the Shadow Realm. This level doesn't require smoking more. All it really requires you to do is just go outside and explore the world that in many ways has become the upside down from Stranger Things. Cause at this level, rational thinking has been completely thrown out the window and your brain has reverted to factory settings as of when you were just born. So if you see a streetlight flickering, for example, if you were normal, you just think, they really should fix that. Compared to now,
Oh shit, bro. This is totally one of those slasher scenes where once I walk over the street light, he's gonna shift me up, isn't he? Nah, man, fuck this. I'm out of here.
At least, I don't know, that's how it feels to me when I achieve the pinnacle of high and am wandering the world outside. Types of people you should never blaze with. If you've ever smoked with friends, you know being high with others can be a great time, and in a lot of ways much more fun than being high alone. But it can also be awful and cause zaza anxiety if you're with the wrong group. So today we're gonna go over types of people you should never smoke up with, starting with the oversmoker. The oversmoker is someone who wants to hit that penjamin way too much. Now don't get me wrong, I got nothing against a good old limit breaker sesh, but if you're the oversmoker, you never actually doing that. Cause your tolerance is so high, even if you grab the beehive-sized chunk of wax and dab the whole thing, you still stand there like, phew, I think I feel something. Another reason I really don't like blazing with these dudes is cause you can't ever really dive into a topic and enjoy the high, cause every 10 minutes you hear that,
Hey, let's do another hit.
like, what you mean, dog? We just did 3 hits in 30 minutes. I'm halfway fused with the couch, and your homie is in the corner explaining how the government controls us with tap water. We don't need another hit, bro. One positive this guy has, I guess, though, is he is always equipped with a ridiculous amount of za. Dudes must get his shit from the same guy Gordon Ramsay was hitting up, cause it's always some damn exotic. Even so, their vibe ain't really one I fuck with, so if you're this guy, I'ma respectfully advise you to maybe consider taking a tea break or some, cause there is a point where it's too much. Unlike the next guy who doesn't even need any side to be annoying, and he is Mr. Paranoid. I think we've all gotten paranoid from the grass before, and that ain't nothing to be ashamed of, cause sometimes there really ain't nothing you can do. But the occasional paranoid episode ain't what this guy has. This dude, even before taking a rip, is talking about some, hey yo, you sure this ain't lace, right? No, what? This is the same stuff as last time, bro. Okay, that's good. Can you check if there's any cops around?
Bro, there's no cops. We're in the fucking woods.
Yeah, okay, but wait, before we smoke, let me check if this place is haunted.
Man, what is this guy on?
Like, bro, what do you mean haunted? This ain't Conjuring, bro. Why you always trying to set a negative vibe for everyone? But however much you assure my mans that no, it's okay, we're not about to be swatted on some Twitch streamer shit, his mind just can't seem to get over it. And worst part is, dude never tries to deal with his paranoid problems on his own. You can all be having a fun time talking about some GTA 6 leaks or something, and he'll just ruin it all with,
Hey, yo, guys. You hear that?
hear what?
Bro, I swear, I just heard someone walking outside.
So? It's a neighborhood. That's what people do.
Yeah, but the window's open. He could have saw us all high.
Yeah, but it ain't like you're gonna call the cops.
Cops? There's cops?
What? No, chill, man. There's no cops.
Nah, bro. I think I'm greening out. I need some fresh air or something.
Bro just decides, yup, I'm greening out now. Like, no, your personality is just very insecure, and you should probably get that figured out before you take another smack dabbly do off that penjamin. Anyway, this guy ain't no fun to blaze with, cause he's very prone to ruining the vibe, so avoid at all costs. This next guy is more of a personal preference, so you might disagree with me, but for a guy I don't like getting high with is the grass NPC. I think we've all met one of these, whether you knew it at the time or not. This is the type of dude who lives, breathes, and of course, smokes grass. I mean, really, dudes physically can't talk about anything else for more than a minute, cause he has no goals or aspirations that stretch further than, I wanna get suited AF. Which, wanting to get suited ain't nothing bad. I mean, most of us here probably love bacon, but come on, bro, at some point you gotta think about your life, your future, or I don't know, just something else than grass. Why I personally don't like hanging with a dude like this is cause his stories always are so centered around how high he was. I mean, bro, I get it, you went to school high. Like, at some point after hearing about the 78th time of dudes being high in class, you start to notice that man's actually has nothing interesting to say except,
Yeah, I was so gone when I was in math class. Yeah, bro, we went to the zoo and I was not on planet Earth.
like, bro, when are you ever on planet Earth? And I find it hard to believe this guy, cause if you blazing so much, do you even feel high anymore? Like, don't you just get used to the feeling and it becomes normal? Anyway, yeah, don't be this guy. He ain't making it past level 1 of life, for real. Unless he, like, starts his own dispensary or something. Then it could work out very nicely, actually. But the next type of dude on the list is the guy that wants to be taken way too serious. I don't know if you guys ever talked to someone like this, but I have a couple times, and it's annoying AF.
You know how when you blaze, you tend to go on rants and halfway lose your train of thought and then just end up saying, ah shit, I don't know what I'm talking about. And everyone laughs and moves on? Well, this dude is incapable of doing that. Instead, he holds the conversation hostage with his ramblings about inflation, Biden, Oprah, and James Cameron. And if you start trying to move on and talk about something else, dude sits there not listening and then 3 minutes later hits everyone with the,
Okay, so basically what I was trying to explain earlier was,
like, bro, we already moved on and we're all freaking baked. No one even remembers their last sentence. How you gonna start expanding on your thoughts from ages ago like the MCU or something? Worst part is, however much you try to politely show him to stop ranting, he never gets the signs and just keeps doing it. Best thing you can do is just not invite him to the sesh, and you don't have to feel like a dick about it either, cause I'm 100% sure he understands the signs, but just ignores him cause he thinks his thoughts are more important than whatever the group wants to talk about. But the next dude on the list has a bit of a different problem, and he is Mr. I'm bored, I wanna do something. Oh snap, the guy who is somehow always bored and wants to do something. Now, don't get me wrong, I love high adventures and I'm always down to go on one, but only if there's actually something cool in mind. Yeah, this is something this dude and me don't have in common, cause this mofo just spams the sentence, I'm bored, let's go somewhere. Like, bro, where somewhere? Say where. My man just assumes anywhere is better than where he is, and honestly, that gets annoying fast, cause it makes you all self-conscious about if you're bored or not. And honestly, a lot of times you might be, but that's just life. The grass ain't a freaking happy pill. Sometimes you're gonna smoke up and still feel bored. But how is that gonna change if we go outside? It's not like we living in Skyrim, bro. However sad it may be, you ain't finna open the door and see a mysterious bearded man waiting for you with a scroll in his hand saying, adventurer, we need you. But hey, out of everybody on the list, I think this guy is the least bad, cause a lot of times the zaza makes mofos lazy AF, so it is good to have someone who can push the group into doing stuff. Just sometimes my man needs to chill out. Talking about,
Let's go to McDonald's. Let's go to Burger King.
let's go, shh. Let's just shut the fuck up. Okay. Although sometimes dude actually does have something in mind, which turns out to be pretty fun. So there ain't nothing bad with wanting to do something cool, just you don't have to parade the fact you're bored all the time, cause just by saying that, everybody is gonna feel like that even more. The wake and bake is a legendary art form created by humans of the highest intellect. The act of waking from one slumber and immediately entering into Yodi land is a sacred practice known only to the chillest of creatures. There has been a lot of controversy in the meaning of wake and bake. Some say it can only truly be called the holy practice if one smokes up immediately after awakening from dreamland. Others, including myself, believe it is not necessary to sleep next to your crusty last cleaned in 2007 smelling like a rotting can of tuna ass piece of glass. Cause I don't know about you, but personally I like to start my mornings off with something nice, like a coffee or some bacon and eggs. Not the taste of bicing 15 hot pockets in your stomach. But you just said that the breakfast munchies are nice. Yeah, they are, but you have to treat the massive breakfast kind of like drinking alcohol. So you gotta understand the sacrifice you are making by having that giant breakfast. You are effectively done for the day, as you will most likely fall right back to sleep after, and then when you do wake up from your 3-hour morning nap, you'll feel all hazy and bad, cause you just wasted your whole day. Lazy piece of shit. So if you wanna avoid that, don't wake and munch. Number 2. Make a plan the night before. Have goals set for the day. Basic stuff like buy groceries, maybe work out, hang with some friends, stuff like that. Cause when you have a plan the night before, you are much less likely to just sleep the whole day and then at night feel like a lazy fat tub of lard. But also keep in mind, you are supposed to have fun on a wake and bake, so don't make the objectives too hard cause you're probably just not gonna do them then. Some of my favorite wake and bake activities include going to the gym, playing a team sport, playing a story game, bathing in the sun, going to the store, hanging out with the homies, etc. Anyway, time for the last rule, which is number 3. Don't get obliterated on the wake and bake. So this one is kinda obvious, but important nonetheless. It might seem like a great idea to get soinked up to nines on your first hit, but in reality, all that will do is spoil the plans you set the night before. Cause no matter how productive of a smoker you are, when you're faded to the max, there is about a 95% chance you'll tell yourself, ugh, whatever, I'll do it tomorrow. Which once evening rolls around, will hit you with that existential depression. And the only way to escape from that is with the purest form of productivity. We've all had it, we all know it. 2 a.m. motivation.
The drugs, the cigarettes, that dumb bitch. It all starts fucking today, alright? No more fucking excuses. That's the fucking, this is the year of the fucking soldier.
And I mean, even though who doesn't love a bit of midnight motivation, it won't get you anywhere in the long term, and really is usually just a sign of doing nothing useful during the day. But hey, if you follow these 3 golden rules, I'm sure your future wake and bakes will be much more productive and fun. At least I hope so.
The first day back at school, a day I used to hate. I mean, can you blame me? Cause as a student, summer is the only significant amount of time you are granted to enjoy your young life, and the rest, well, back to the academic 9 to 5. But to make the clown show that is the first day back at school a bit more fun and exciting, me, Salamander, and Ricky conjured up a devious plot to add a little bit of spice into the mix. It all started on the night before the first day. We were all at Salamander's place just chilling, playing Xbox, eating Doritos, and smacking the penjamin, of course, when the conversation sailed to the topic of going back to school. It was the usual,
Man, I don't wanna go back to school. Yeah, bro, same.
until Salamander, the troubled child he was, or is, I don't know, said, "Hey guys, you know what we should do tomorrow before the opening ceremony?
No?
We should totally spark a J." Nah, man, you know I don't like getting faded in school. That shit is so stressful. Nah, hear me out. This ain't school. It's the first day ceremony where they sing, read poems, and I don't know, maybe someone will do a flip or something too. So, wouldn't it be more fun if during all that we were faded?
He's got a point.
Okay, but just a little. You better not bring some abomination of a spliff like last time.
Shit, you know me, I wouldn't do that.
We decided to smoke up just a little bit before the first day. A little bit was what we agreed upon. So obviously, Salamander, being the trustworthy homie he is, would never peer pressure nor instigate a friend into smoking more than he wants. So obviously, he only rolled a small split.
Okay, so here's the J.
Bruh.
This mofo heard my request of a small J to get only a bit suited and decided,
Okay, small, microdosed, small J, medium. Nah, fuck it, fat.
But anyway, here we are, on the park bench outside the school premises at 8:30 a.m. during wake and bake hours. And well, because me and Ricky are men of integrity and honor and would never waste free za, we fell to the bamboozlement of Salamander yet again and smoked the whole thing. Whereas right after, we were running a bit late, so the 3 of us Soink Musketeers stood up and started walking intensely to school. But honestly and thankfully, I wasn't very paranoid, unlike most of the times I got high at school, because, well, it was the first day and we didn't really have any classes except for only one introductory welcome back type thing that was supposed to last only 45 minutes, so not a big deal. Once we arrived at the auditorium, we were shell-shocked to find out the speech was already going on, and because we were looking like a couple medium rare filet mignons, we didn't really want to go in, because we knew when we opened that door, everybody would stop and stare at us, because that's just how it always is when you arrive to class late. And although Salamander was telling us, "Nah guys, don't be pussios, let's just go," we ended up sitting out the first part until lunchtime, cause we were pretty sure we wouldn't get in trouble if we just said we missed our bus or something. 30 minutes went by and lunchtime came, and because we were camped out at the cafeteria, we were the first to get their welcome back to school lunch. And what was that wonderful, significant, mouth-watering dish, you might ask? Well, it was nothing but munchies heaven. We were served some beans, a boiled egg, and some turkey meat or something. Oh, and I can't forget the 1% milk that tastes like it was mixed with water. Fantastic. But even though the food should have been pretty dog poop, it was actually pretty aight. I mean, it wasn't no Big Mac and McNuggets, but because we were high, it was edible. No. I would even go as far and say it was pretty good. After eating our gulag food faster than everybody else, we were the first back in the auditorium, and because of that, we got the best seats in the house, at the far back corner where no one could see us. And although we had missed the only important part of the day, that being the introductory speech by the principal, we did have a jolly old time listening to the honor students' inspirational poems and songs about life by giggling and chuckling in the back like math.
Hey yo, chemistry.
The
the first high. I think most of us remember our first time inhaling the zaza, cause for the unlucky few who got hit with that paranoid pack and started bugging out like that Szechuan sauce dude at McDonald's, they probably wrote off the grass as an unholy manifestation of the devil himself. For me, my first high was a truly enlightening moment, as I ain't no dum-dum, so I took the proper precautions to ensure I wasn't gonna be laying on the bed having flashbacks cause my mom came home and wanted me to do some chores or something. But anyway, the first time high experience is different for everybody, but it always starts with the securing of the bag. Now, depending on how old you were and where you live, this part of the first high was either the easiest or the most stressful, because nowadays mofos can go to a damn tree and acquire the holiest and strongest grass in the universe like a damn candy bar. But back in the Wild West, you had to deal with these dudes called plugs. And if you were just a normal kid buying an illegal item from some dude named Spider, it was really scary. Like me and my homies always imagined they'd be all tattooed up, packing heat in every pocket, looking like Mike Tyson when he got out of jail. In reality, they were usually just normal dudes trying to make a quick buck. And also, now that I'm older, I've kind of realized all these plugs with tattoos and nicknames like Scorpion or some shit were literally just wannabe thugs who just listened to a bit too much UK drill and made it their whole personality overnight. But anyway, once you secured the bag, you had to move on to setting the time and place. Now, if you had a friend with his own crib or with parents who frequently left the house unattended, this was easy, but if not, well, that's where a lot of these bad trips happened. Mofos were fiending to get high so bad, a lot of them decided, fuck it, let's just get high at school, or something crazy like that. And let me tell you, you gotta mentally be David Goggins if you get high for the first time at school and don't start tweaking. Even after I had smoked up a good amount, I still didn't consider getting high at school a chill experience. It was a mission every single time. Like, however calm you thought you were, all it took was one...
Mr. C, can you tell me the answer to question 14, please?
Yeah, sure. So, question 14, well, the answer...
Excuse me, Mr. C, are you on something?
Well, shit. Juvie it is, I guess. But hey, I do know dudes who did this for their first and survived. And big props to them, just couldn't be me, and I don't recommend it be you either. Another popular option, which was kind of in the middle, was just getting faded outside at the park on a weekend or something. This was much more chill, but the problem of randoms walking around and the fear of getting an unexpected call from your parents or something was still quite prevalent. Also, another downside, coma is quite easily catchable. So if you puffed on that za for too long, you might have gotten a bad trip because you got glued to the park bench. Speaking of puffing for too long, choosing the amount. Last part, but arguably the most important, is obviously choosing the size of the portion. Now, depending on your friends and if they were heads or not, they could have told you anything from
Yeah, man, so a good first hit is this entire 1 gram spliff. Inhale it all and you should feel something.
to...
So yeah, this molecule should be enough for your first time. It's got a good amount of atoms in it.
In reality, it's somewhere in the middle, cause being it's your first time, your tolerance doesn't exist yet, so even smelling some premium wood might have gotten you high. Then again, if the stuff wasn't premium, you might have been left disappointed at barely feeling anything and writing it off as,
yeah, I'm just built different, I guess. It don't work on me.
And actually, for some reason, a lot of dudes don't feel anything their first time, including me. I always imagined there being some wall of defense in my body, and with every hit, it got weaker, until finally it broke and opened the floodgates for the green magic to flow through. But there is a final step that a lot of people forget to do, and that is enjoying the high. So yeah, don't try to control it, flow with it. You get me? Especially if you are alone. And also, my first time was alone. Buying from the plug is always an experience, cause unless you're super tight with him, you never know if you're gonna get the leftover oregano Reggie pack he scraped from the bottom of his grinder, or if you lucky and the RNG god smile upon you, you might just get the finest organic grass-fed grass there is on planet Earth. But alas, most plugs keep that quality stuff for only the loyalist of customers or new buyers. For me, it was the latter. It begins with me and the main homie Salamander. We had just gotten home from school on a Friday and had scraped our money together for a night of hitting the spliffington and playing video games. Now, usually it was Salamander who secured the bag, cause I didn't really have too many connects. Unfortunately, this time he was unable to find the holy saw from his usual catalog of plugs. But we didn't let that discourage us, cause we knew if there is a will, there is a way. So both me and Salamander started hitting up everybody we knew who dabbled with the powers of the green plant, and it wasn't looking too good. Altogether, we wrote about 10 people, half of which just ignored us, and the other half just said they were out. So, as we sat there on the couch, hope dwindling, sadness emerging, and worst of all, no Zaza approaching, we were about to call it a day, when one of the dudes who had initially ignored us sent out a beacon of light. Yeah, I know a guy. He just started plugging, so I can't vouch for the quality, but he definitely got some. Now, if you've ever been in a situation like this, you know it is one of the best feelings in the world when you've almost given up, but in the last second, you get that holy text of, yeah, how much? But even though we were pretty stoked, we were also a little bit wary, because this $20 we had saved up was the equivalent of 20 million in today's money, and because this guy was new and no info was given on the quality, we were scared of getting a bag of oregano. And I mean, at the time, we both thought all plugs are grueling gangsters ready to kill you on sight if you so much as make the wrong sound. So if it really was a bag of oregano, there was nothing we could do about it. Anyway, the time comes for us to meet up with this mysterious plug, and the instructions he gave us were to come to this rundown gas station's loading area in the back at 8 p.m. sharp. So we did. As we were standing there at 7:58 p.m., we could only imagine what vicious, heinous, devious killer would come to greet us. So yeah, we hyped him up a little too much, but all that mattered now was the grass and if it was good or not. We went through the usual plug dialogue options like, yo, what's up? Yeah bro, can't wait to get suited today. This that good, etc. Until he finally revealed the grass, and what I witnessed to this day I find absurd. The grass was golden. Nani? Not in like shiny gold, but it was this yellowish color with green accents. Beautiful. And the smell. Bro opened that bag up for us to sniff, but it was not necessary, as the smallest opening in that Ziploc baggie consumed the entire area with the finest fragrance imaginable. Oh, okay, well, finest is the wrong word probably. The shit smelled like cat piss, but that's a good thing with Zaza. So we gave up our $20 with no hesitation and returned to Salamander's place with this golden grass of the gods. Now, usually we would just roll up a spliff and consume the za like that, but as this seemed to be legendary material and we didn't want to waste even a single microgram, we made a makeshift can that would allow us to ration this gram to the maximum. So now it was time to hit the za, and it went something like this. Are you ready? Shit, you know it. Here goes nothing. You good, bro? Yeah, you gotta hit this shit, man. Hey, you good? You good, bro? You hear me? You good? Yeah, man, this is some good stuff. This shit was heavenly. It was not of this world, I swear. Now, I'm not sure if it was because our tolerance was pretty much zero at the time, or it was really grass descending from heaven. Probably a mix of both. But one thing I do know, that was the highest I had ever been up until that point. And well, as we know, when you were really high, you don't remember much the night after. So unfortunately, I don't know exactly what we talked about or what we did, but I do remember that we caught a major case of the Joker's laughing gas cause we found everything hilarious. We were so goddamn high, it took us a solid 20 minutes to navigate the PS4 menu to launch our game of Call of Duty. And when we did launch it, we were cognitively impaired. Felt like the controller was inverted or some shit. But safe to say, that Friday night we were truly blessed by the plug, and we went on to exclusively buy from that guy until he stopped plugging 1 month later. But he will always hold a special place in my heart as the plug of plugs. Greening out or getting too high is the worst thing that can happen when inhaling that freshly cut grass. If you have a sudden emergency or miscalculate the size of the portion, things can turn south real quick. One moment you're chilling in your room having the time of your life playing Minecraft or some shit. Next thing you know, the green forcefully teleports your brain into a realm filled with the demons of your nightmares. And once the grass pushes you over that border, it ain't no easy task to get back to Yodi land. But not to worry, for D who masters the green out, masters the universe. Okay, well that's kind of an overstatement, but nah, for real. If you want to learn how to never green out again, then you're in the right place. Cause being that I do have a PhD in spliff rolling, a master's degree in avoiding bad trips, and a bachelor's in high thoughts, I am more than qualified to teach you the ways of the zaza. First things first, what are the symptoms of feeling too high? Well, the Cambridge Dictionary describes greening out as greening out is a term described as being so goddamn high that you start tweaking like a schizophrenic that hasn't taken his pills for a week. The symptoms of this state include dry mouth, anxiety, paranoia, thinking of that one time you should have done that one thing a little bit differently, etc. As we can see, greening out is obviously not a pleasurable experience, and to know how to counteract this phenomenon, we must analyze the 3 main types of greenouts. Number 1. The pure Kush coma greenout. Starting with the good old Kush coma. Being one of the most commonly occurring greenouts, it can be caused by many factors like overestimating your tolerance, smoking an unexpectedly strong strain, or the one I have seen the most, not correctly gauging the situation and how much fatedness it requires/allows. So let's say you're gonna be going over to a small little function with a couple of your buddies. Now, if the goal of said function isn't to all unifiedly test the boundaries of high, then I wouldn't recommend hogging the spliff in the rotation for too long, cause you best believe when everyone is chatting and having a good time and you're just laying on the couch like a sloth, you'll be wishing that you were a little bit more generous in the prior rotation. Plus, the guy who falls asleep first is always the one who gets clowned on, so you probably don't want to be him. And if you've never been in a Kush coma, I think a quote from one of the most beautiful works of artistic creation in the 21st century sums it up best. It's the blunt after blunt rotation. Now I'm in a Kush coma off the OG aroma, and my brain going on vacation. Kush coma, Kush coma. I am in a Kush coma. Beautiful. Anyway, let's move on to the second type of greenout, which is number 2, the random anxiety greenout. Now, this is the traditional paranoid greenout. It can be triggered pretty much whenever. I mean, really, sometimes the green holy plant just feels like messing with you and decides to do something like this. Oh boy, I'm excited. Can't wait to just lay down and have a good old time.
A few moments later.
Hey, remember that cursed movie you watched as a kid? Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah, it was. But you're enjoying this zaza too much lately, so I'm just gonna make your brain think that it was real, so you get real spooked and can't sleep all night. That cool?
What? No!
Okay, bye.
So, as you can see, these are kind of the worst, as there's no real counter for when the grass decides to screw with you. The only thing that can at least help prevent this from happening is your experience as a blazer, cause at some point, you get used to the occasional mind tricks of the za. Anyway, let's move on to the last and rarest one. Number 3, the situational greenout. Even though this one doesn't happen often because most people who decide to get faded into Universe 7 plan out a safe area where they can enjoy the grass in comfort. All that being said, however well you plan, there is always the chance of an urgent mission popping up. And I mean, what can you really do when, I don't know, your homie's about to be jumped by a ragtag bunch of 13-year-old UK roadmen? The only correct answer is you gotta get your baked ass up from that couch you've melded with, pull up on the situation and handle it like a man. Could you guys stop calling my friend the waste man, whatever that means? Man, shut up, blood, before you get chinged by the mandem, plotty waste man in it. What, I'm not a waste man, okay? And I can see we're not getting anywhere, so I'm gonna go now. Ching him up. Okay, well, you're probably not gonna be in situations exactly like that, but you get what I mean. Now that we've learned about all the types of greenouts, how do we counteract them? Well, if I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't have that master's degree in avoiding bad trips, although the spliff rolling one was not a lie, and therefore I did nothing wrong. By Prime Energy. But it's rather simple. To avoid the kush coma, don't smoke as much kush. The anxiety greenout can easily be avoided with basic strategies, so if you're going to a place filled with new people, it's probably not the best idea to hit that double Benjamin. And the last one, well, can't do nothing about that. Just hope you don't get chinged, I guess. I think we can all agree that the magic broccoli can make you more creative. However, how does that creativity translate outside the realm of Yodi land is a whole different question. Now, me being the certified weed scientist, doctor, officer, and more, I've had a lot of sometimes stupid, sometimes brilliant ideas, well, bugging off the zaza. Like this one time when me and my brother were just enjoying a beautiful summer day outside on the terrace, faded AF, when by the gods I was struck with an idea so brilliant and great, I just couldn't stop until it came to fruition. And what was this idea? Well, it went something like this.
Oh my. Hey bro, I just got this great idea that I think we should do right now.
Okay, what is it?
I got 2 words for you. Virtual reality.
And what transpired after this is one of the most sad, stressful, and heartbreaking experiences of my high career. Although my brother was hesitant at first, after I explained why virtual reality will quite literally change our lives forever, he agreed to it. The only problem now was we were broke. Well, not completely, but these damn VR headsets cost anywhere from $400 to $1,000 new. And ain't no way we were about to drop a bag like that on some VR porn.
Games, I mean VR games. That's what I was saying.
So we did what any other broke 20-year-old with a materialistic dream would do. We went on Facebook Marketplace, where after a while of searching, we found a Oculus Rift S being sold for $150, which is a great deal. I mean, it cost $400 new, plus it was only 20 miles away, so we could be there in like 20 minutes. So obviously, we went ahead and bought it, without really asking any questions nor looking through the description of the post, which mentioned a cat nibbling on the cord, but hey, what does that have to do with anything?
It was broken, okay, that's what it had to do with it.
But not in a won't even turn on way of broken. It was like work for 20 minutes and then doesn't broken. Plus, it didn't even use a normal HDMI cable, so we had to buy a damn $50 adapter for it as well, that we haven't used ever since this incident with VR. After like 2 days of screwing around with the settings and trying to fix the nibbled on cable, we got it to work for the record-breaking time of 1 hour. Yes, 1 hour of virtual reality. But, you know, we spent like 10 hours getting it all set up and fixing the damn errors. Plus we dropped $200 on the supplies, so, yeah. And, I think it's time I confess my sins right here on the channel. After a week of having the VR headset, we sold it. For a profit. To an unexpected kid who probably was saving up money for months to get it. Sorry. But it's a dog-eat-dog world, and I put in the description the same damn thing. A cat nibbled on the wire. So yeah, I think the kid learned a valuable lesson worth more than the $200 he gave me for the broken headset. I mean, the VR headset. But it's not all bad, because I've had some pretty banger ideas while high as well. Like this one time when I was inhaling that broccoli and stumbled upon these high Stickman channels that were popping up, and I thought to myself, wait, hold up, I'm high. I know how to use Microsoft Paint. I can do this. And look, it was one of those ideas that you have while high, but it was actually a good idea. Very unlike this one time when me and a couple homies were hotboxing in the car when I came up with the genius plan to go sledding in the middle of winter whilst completely blasted, whilst only having on a hoodie, and whilst only having our damn legs for transportation cause the car was just a stationary hotbox machine. So yeah, at the time, I don't know what I was thinking. I remember just focusing on the awesome part, you know, the whole sledding down the mountain thing, but didn't take into account how cold it was, how much we needed to walk to get up the mountain, how I only had a f***ing hoodie on, plus I forgot about my crippling paranoia about feeling cold. Like literally, my dumbass brain just sometimes flips on me like, hey, psst. Yeah. So you're having fun? Feeling good? You know, yeah, it's a beautiful day, you know, I'm having a good time. Yeah, it is. But you're freezing cold, aren't you? No, what? I'm not. Well, now you are. F you. Talk to you in your next high. Peace. So yeah, I don't know what I was thinking with that sledding plan. I was just really hyped about it for no apparent reason, but I think that's just it makes everything seem awesome. Another weird obsession I seem to have when I'm faded is real Japanese samurai swords. I don't know why, but there's just something about knowing that the sword you are holding was once used for actual combat by a true samurai. But hey, that just might be me. We all know that the zaza can reignite that sense of wonder we had as a kid. Unfortunately, this doesn't come without a price, because depending on how much you consume, your brain function will drop accordingly. So even though in your head, you'll feel like a super genius connecting dots you couldn't piece together before, to the people around you, you'll be looking something like this. But for all the people who are relatively new to blazing, this list can help you avoid doing things so incredibly stupid that you'll look back at them, wondering if maybe you really are all the things that you were called in those Call of Duty lobbies back in the day. Anyway, let's get right into number 3. Ordering food and then forgetting about it. So you hit a smack dabbly-doo and you're suddenly hit with the munchies. Since you are feeling extra lazy today and want to reward yourself, you hop on your favorite food delivery app and get yourself 15 hot wings, 2 Big Macs, 2 large fries, a number 4, 2 number 9s, 1 with extra dip, and also a good old McFlurry. Now that you ordered your food, it's time to hop on the good old internet and start looking at random stuff. And oh, what is this? A conspiracy theory about Elon Musk? Better dig deeper, you say to yourself. Until you end up on some random subreddit with 15 members arguing if birds are robots created by the government to spy on their citizens. Yet at some point, you get tired and fall asleep. So the next day, you wake up, drink your coffee, and go outside to watch the beautiful sunrise. But oh, what is this? You are greeted by 3 smelly wet bags of food from yesterday's rain, and you think to yourself, oh boy, free breakfast. Nah, but for real, this happened to me once, and it was one of those moments where you think, man, really gotta lay off that saw. Number 2. Yeah, bro, we're gonna go. Let's just do one more hit. The good old one more hit. For some reason, every time you want to go outside to do something, either alone or with friends, there's always the internal conflict of, are you high enough? And to be honest, most of the time you are. But man, I'd rather be tripping balls, feeling like a special needs space cadet, than have that, man, I should have smoked more feeling. The problem with that is, a lot of times, that last hit hits you with that Muhammad Ali right hook, meaning your high hopes of a productive stoner adventure turn into another night of being immobilized on the couch with an industrial-grade barrel of Ben & Jerry's ice cream on your night table. Bro, let's go. It's getting late. Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's hit the grab one more time, though. Okay, sure. Number 1. Forgetting to buy the munch. Now, some of you might be saying something like, no, it's not stupid, it's the correct thing to do, cause eating so much sugar and fatty foods is like really unhealthy for you. And I will agree with you to the extent if you're a daily smoker, then yes, stuffing your face like Nicocado avocado every day is not the way to go. But if you're like me, who only blazes a couple times a week, but those times you get absolutely obliterated, then it is stupid. Cause that's just torturing yourself. It's like buying a supercar without an engine, going to an amusement park below the height requirement, moving to Dubai with the financial stability of a college graduate. It doesn't make sense. Plus, to be honest, if your body works normally, after stuffing yourself to the brim the night before, you won't even want to eat anything for the next 12 to 18 hours. Knowing all these things, why do I still not buy that goddamn mega pack of Doritos? Knowing damn well it ain't gonna change a thing. The munchies will have me going to the gas station at 2 a.m. on a Wednesday like, sir, will there be anything else? No. That'll be... No. Actually, I'll have a double cheeseburger too. Smoking alone can be a marvelous time filled with amazing discoveries of the most unexpectedly entertaining things like YouTube videos about a raspy voiced John Wick lookalike or a bald short guy who is really into psych. But there is a catch to this fantastic ability of solo highs. Every time you consume the za by your lonesome, you are also taking upon the demons that might reside in the grass. And oh boy, because you are alone, you don't have anyone to tell you, Bro, I think the zaza was laced, man. Everything is so intense. I'm low-key bugging out right now. Bro, you're being a total pussy right now. Just chill out and let's go buy some goddamn Doritos. Man, yeah, you're probably right. Let's just go buy some Doritos, I guess. As you can see, it's actually quite nice if you have someone to stop you from falling deep into some stupid paranoid episode. But honestly, this is usually only an issue the first couple times, cause after a while, the grass runs out of tricks, and you can just enjoy the high without being scared of the spooky monsters that could be under your bed. But you know, just to be safe, you should always check. Anyway, one problem I just can't seem to get rid of in my solo high adventures is my damn focus. That thing just seems to flip-flop through everything it comes across. Like, sometimes I find the most banger movie that I am 100% sure I will enjoy the living out of. And then all of a sudden, my brain gets into an entanglement with the leftover box of donuts I have in the fridge. And once something like that happens, it's already too late. Cause I mean, yeah, you could sit there trying to watch the movie pretending like you haven't already spiritually traveled to the fridge where you're feeling the most vivid sensations of what those donuts would taste like. And there you are, thinking about donuts when you switch back to reality and look at the screen in front of you and realize, what the hell is this movie about? It just sucks. So to be honest, I've kinda learned that for the best solo highs, you really gotta just go where the za leads you, cause if you start forcing yourself to do something, it's never fun. Yet one thing I urge you guys to stay away from if you don't wanna feel like a worthless piece of filth at the end of your high is those damn TikToks. Don't get me wrong, I love a bit of short form content, but when you high, that shit is like a bottomless, timeless pit. My dumb ass has wasted whole entire highs just mindlessly scrolling all these IG reels, YouTube shorts, TikToks, etc. And it's really awful afterwards, especially if you had planned to watch a movie or play a game, cause then all you can think of is what could have been. To me, it feels almost as bad as planning out a great day of stumbling around suited AF, only to do a wake and bake and shortly after fall into a comatose state where you wake up at 6 p.m. all hazy, knowing damn well that you just quite literally wasted not only the whole day, but a whole bunch of zaza. And for what? To sleep on your bed? Could have done that sober too. Okay, I will admit sometimes when the za hits you with crazy dreams, it's worth it, but that's really rare. But anyway, as long as you can keep somewhat of a hold over your brain, you'll have a great old time. Some of the best solo highs I've had have always been when I can get into whatever I'm doing, that being a video game, movie, anime, whatever. Although it is tough, cause I guess it's just human nature to want that quick satisfaction from TikTok or whatnot. But a good way to approach those short form apps is once you see an interesting clip, kind of start researching more into it. So for example, if you see a video of let's say some SB Foundation creature that you find dope, instead of scrolling forward, hop on YouTube and start looking at more shit related to that. That way you're not rotting your brain by hopping from subject to subject, and in 2-3 years after the world evolves into a place where the average person's attention span is 2 seconds, you can proudly parade the fact that yours isn't a measly 2 seconds, it's 5. Nah, but I think you get what I mean, and if you want to level up even further from that, instead of entertainment, you can try to study, work, train, etc. whilst high. Although that can be quite tough, but if you can pull it off, I'll tell you about a great investment opportunity. Okay, I'll tell you now, it's a pink gorilla with AirPods. This is the perfect time to get into NFTs and I'm sorry guys, I don't know what happened. I think the spirit of Logan Paul consumed me. Anyway, I think the Zaza is a wonderful thing, as long as you don't abuse it and save it for appropriate times. I think all of us here have been high before, and probably drunk too. But have you been both at the same time? Cross-faded. Getting this mixture right is unfortunately quite hard, cause if you smoke too much, you'll be reduced from Mr. Life of the party into a disabled slab of meat on the couch, where you'll spend your night alternating between scrolling TikToks and eating Doritos from your belly. But man, you get this concoction of THC and alcohol right, and the two chemicals will fuse with each other and create something more than they were separately. You'll become Stage 7. I'm so fucked up, man. Nah, but for real, you know how the magic spice makes everything interesting, but at the same time it throws you in the 10x gravity chamber with Vegeta, so every drop of energy you spend feels like you just ran the 100 meters and barely clinched the win over Usain Bolt. Well, the Henny will fix that for you, so if you get the mix right, everybody's stories and conversations will become 5 times more interesting. But at the same time, you also violent off the Henny, so you got the energy to do stupid shit while being zoinked out of your mind. Hey bro, what you doing up here? Shit, we about to jump into the pool, fool! Ain't it a little small? Nah, man, it's good. Look at this. Hey, bro, can you call the ambulance? I'm actually in very serious pain right now. Okay, so I've talked about how awesome it can be, but man, if you're actually wasted, don't smoke the za, cause the za makes it very hard to vomit, and if you're drunk as fuck, you can see how that can be very dangerous. But man, I swear, these guys be enemies one day and best friends the next, cause if you know anything about science like I do, then you know that the best cure for a hangover is that Cali exotic bud. So I always pack that first aid kit for the morning after the party. It can even be used as a vaccine, kind of. So by that I mean if you smoke up before a night out, your hangover won't be nearly as bad. I don't know, at least that's how it works for me. But bro, this one time I was celebrating my high school graduation by going camping with our entire class, and you know your boy got straight obliterated off the Henny and za. But thankfully in the morning I wasn't feeling too bad, but I felt it getting worse, so I went to my homie Salamander and politely asked, "Shall we partake in the rotation of the spliff, my dear man?" "Yes, I believe that is a stupendous idea." "Fabulous, shall we?" "We shall." And after that holy rotation, I was suddenly cured and went on to spend the whole day hanging out with our class in castle ruins, museums, boring shit like that. But once we got back to our campsite and my high had almost faded, I suddenly got real sleepy and I wasn't feeling so good. So me being the total geek I am, went to bed at 9 p.m. on my last day before I never saw these people again. And it must have been divine punishment or something, cause I woke up with my first and worst hangover I've had. And here's the kicker, I was out of kush, feeling like a badly programmed NPC. I hated everything that wasn't lying on the ground, fading in and out of sleep. Worst part was, everybody started packing and getting ready to leave, whilst I was in the most agonizing state my body had ever been in. I'm usually one to push through the bad trip or not feeling so good, but that day I was absolutely defeated by mortal man's only weakness, hoes and booze. I guess what I'm trying to say is, being crossfaded is usually a hit or miss. You either have the time of your life or you overdo it and end up being the weirdo at the function who falls asleep on the couch overnight, or even just blazes up at home and just forgets to even go to the party. Wait, why am I even going to this party? I don't know about you guys, but I can be kind of a straight to the point, don't care how you feel type of guy. But for some reason, when I'm faded, that low-key changes. Like, the za seems to make me care more about others and how they feel. Don't get me wrong though, I'm not out here going out of my way to help some grandma cross the street and then run into the nearest blood donation bank where after donating my blood, I volunteer myself at the soup kitchen. It's more like if I wasn't high and was waiting in traffic and an old lady was crossing the street, I think, "Oh my god, you chose the perfect time to cross the street, didn't you? Now I have to sit here like an idiot. I got to do, woman. Move!" Compared to if I was theoretically high. Look at that grandma crossing the street. I wonder where she's going. Probably to see her grandkids. Just wonderful. So yeah, I guess the za makes me more inclined to other people's problems in life, whereas if I'm not faded, I seem to focus mostly on my own without taking into account others. But it's not that simple if we're trying to answer the question of, does being high make you a better person? Because another way to look at it is, it just makes you more lazy. Like the example of the grandma crossing the street. What if the difference in reaction is not that of me being just a great all-around guy, but the za just making me forget why I was in a rush in the first place? Being annoyed, stressed, nervous, etc., although not nice feelings, are symptoms of doing something out of your comfort zone, and doing something outside that zone is really the only way to get anywhere in life. Think about it. Do you know anyone who is actually successful in anything without frequently being stressed? You probably don't. Well, you might, but that dude is just probably some snobby rich kid who embezzles funds from their dad's yacht maintenance fund into their shitty little company they started with their friends that they only use to make it seem like it's them who's making money, when in reality all they're doing is taking funds from their rich parents and putting them into their pocket and telling everybody I worked for it, but hey, what do I know? Anyway, we've concluded that the za can make you a more understanding and better person, but it can also make you a lazy mofo who loses the ability to step outside their comfort zone. So, is it bad? Nah, I mean, not really. As we know, the key to everything in life is moderation. and if practiced correctly, it can help you with literally everything, not just the zaza. My point here is that there is a time and place for everything, so there is no real answer to if the zaza makes you a better person because it all depends on the context of the situation. So if you're always faded and sit around and eat pizzas and watch the Shaolin Chronicles all day, but then say your philosophy is, bruh, I'm all about peace and love. I don't wanna be like you, stressing out all the time. I chase tranquility. Your argument is not valid to anyone who is trying to achieve something in life besides tranquility. But then again, it goes the other way around as well. So a 24/7 stressed out, always working, never resting dude would say something like, if you want to make it anywhere in life, you can never rest. You gotta outwork everyone, even if that means drinking 6 energy drinks a day, vaping 24/7 to stop the disease of feeling tired, and you gotta sleep a maximum of 4 hours a day to maximize your work time. And obviously, you gotta work out at least 3 hours a day to build that muscle. Like, bro, chill. You might be rich, but what does that matter if you die at 35? Obviously, these are two extremes, both at different far ends of the spectrum, and really, you should try to position yourself somewhere in the middle. There is a time and place for everything, especially for the green magic plant, because if you start frequently using it, it really does take your edge away, and if your goal for life isn't only tranquility, then that is definitely a bad thing. Then again, if you're an uber-focused person who finds it very hard to relax even when they should be, then the zaza can definitely help you in that department and give you a well-deserved break. And dare I say, it can even make you a better person. Or at least make it seem like it to the people around you, cause in reality, you're the same guy, just on a different planet. For example, here are some everyday situations whilst high versus when you aren't. Number 1, someone asks you to do the laundry, but you're not high. Hey bro, can you please do the laundry? Okay, I will. Versus if you are high, hey bro, can you please do the Shh, of course I'll do the laundry. You did it last time, it's only fair. Second situation, you're stuck in traffic on a sunny day, whilst you're not high. How long is this shit gonna take? I should've just taken the second road. Versus when you are high, ooh, is that a new Porsche? Damn, that guy must be rich. So nice just bathing under the sun in this traffic. Oh shit, I gotta move. Number 3, you're in the cinema and you're high. This is awesome. Versus you're not high, this is lame. Okay, the last one didn't really add anything to the video. I just really like being high in the cinema. Anyway, I hope you learned something from this video and maybe achieved tranquility.